A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Yes, it's the Goldbergs. You know, it seems like I've been the cause of a lot of wash day arguments.
You certainly have.
But really...
Now, did you or did you not say Does is a soap for everything in the wash?
Sure I did. Why, does all three kinds of wash, from dirty towels and work shirts to colored rayon slips.
But how can this one granulated soap get grimy towels white and dirty work shirts clean? Yes, and still be so safe for my rayons and nicer colored washables.
But that's the whole idea of Does. You see, you're comparing Does with most old-fashioned granulated soaps you've been using. And, of course, you'd hardly expect them to do all the pretty rayon slips and things in the wash you have nowadays.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
Well, that's where new Does is different. It's safer, far safer for those nice colors than any other leading granulated wash day soap.
That's all very well, but this Does will have to do a good job with my white pieces to suit me.
Oh, if it's whiteness you want, Does will suit you to a T. Why, Does gets clothes whiter, yes, whiter than any number of other soaps. Your towels and sheets will come out really gleaming white. In fact, you've never seen whiter washes than new Does gives you.
And you say it's grand for heavy overalls, too?
Sure, Does will get them wonderfully clean, and without any hard scrubbing either. Why, you just tell me if you ever got cleaner clothes with so little work.
Okay, I'll just get some Does and see whether it does everything.
Oh, well, once you try Does, you'll see it's not just a new improvement of an old soap, but a really new kind of granulated soap. Even the suds are different.
How's that?
Why, if you've been using any one of the 4 other leading granulated laundry soaps in your machine, Does will give you the sud surprise of your life. Because Does makes more suds. Suds that build up faster and last longer. So treat yourself to a new kind of wash day. Get new Does, D-U-Z today, and let Does do everything. And now, the Goldbergs. Tonight, Rosie's going to the school dance with Walter Jerome. A common incident in the lives of a million girls, but these incidents grow uncommon when feelings deepen and a girl becomes a young woman. And when the young man has a past behind him that may enter into the story. Well, right now, the Goldbergs are feeling a little nervous and happy, too, to see Rosie begin to spread her wings and make the first tentative efforts toward that flight of the heart we call love.
Rosie, darling, I think you're dilly-dallying, darling. The clock is moving. The ball will be here momentarily, I think so. I'm ironing your ribbon, darling, for your hair. Oh, again, the phone, the middle. Stand with the telephone. Hello? Yes? Oh, hello, Martha. How are you? I'm very well, but at the moment I'm so busy. I'm in the middle of ironing the ribbon for Rosalie's hair. Yeah. She's going to the dance. With Walter Jerome. You know the young man that came up to Dr. Cader's for staying with Dr. Cader? Yeah. Very nice. Yes. Uh-huh. Who told you? Yes, they have the advertisements of their business in all the magazines. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, what is to say? What is to say so previously? Called her. She's gone to the dance. Well, why not? Well, no. Rosie's a baby. All right, darling. All right. Then she'll go to the dance and be quiet in the house. Come over maybe for a glass of tea. All right, if not, I'll come by you, maybe. All right, dear. Goodbye.
Molly.
Yes, dear?
Rosie's wearing the latches of her open shoes, I hope so.
I think so, dear.
What do you mean you think so? I wouldn't let her out without told.
She wouldn't go. Rosalie, Rolf is bringing his car, no?
Car or no car, she's wearing her galoshes.
Oh, did I say not? What did you say, Rosalie? I said Walter is bringing his car, no? All right. Did you slip on your dress already, darling? Do you want me to bring the ribbon upstairs, dear? Oh, Rosalie? Oh, Jake, look how the child looks. Look. Oh, stand, Mommy. Stand, Rosalie. Oh, you let Papa and me fill our eyes with you. Oh, stand, Mommy, darling.
You should only wear blue, Rosalie. It's very becoming.
It's very becoming, Rosalie. Turn, Mommy. Turn. Oh. You see that you have a beautiful picture yet? Better than last season, Rosalie, darling. Better than last season. What's the matter, Rosalie? Papa, darling, I want to talk to Mama a minute.
Picture? All right.
Rosalie.
I want you to wear your glasses, you hear, Rosalie?
What is it, Rosalie? I changed my mind about going if it wasn't so late, Ma. Why? Why, Rosalie? Well, first, because I asked Walter to take me, and well, I'm sorry I did that, Ma. But Rosalie, he may just be taking me because I asked him. But if he didn't want to, he would have said he was busy, or he would. Sammy thought that I shouldn't have asked him, and Sammy even thought that I was being very obvious. But isn't it obvious? I wasn't hiding my feelings. What feelings, Rosalie? I like him, Ma. I like him very much.
Well, can your father come in already, if I may?
Don't say anything to Papa, please, Ma. Come in, Pa.
Well, I mustn't know, huh?
Well, what's to know? Come, Rosie, darling. I'll fix your hair. The ribbon, Ma.
I shouldn't have stopped, Pa. Is it all right?
Oh, let's look at you, Rosie.
All right.
Terrible.
Come, Rosie, darling. I have your ribbon.
Pa, do you think you can fix my tie?
Why not? Come by the light. Whom are you escorting to the dance, Sammy?
I'm unattached.
What's the matter? Not enough girls in town.
I'll have more time to keep an eye on Rosie.
You think Rosie needs...
Walter Jerome is very attractive, Pa.
So?
Oh, nothing. Rosie's just a kid.
Who said not?
Here, Pa.
Molly.
Yeah.
Molly, see if you can make Sammy's tie. I can.
All right. Stand here by the light. I can't see so
All
good.
right.
Here. Who are you taking to the dance?
He's taking Rosie.
Oh, you're going with Walter and Rosie together?
Uh-huh.
Jake, dear, in the kitchen is laying a towel. Bring it in a minute, dear, huh?
Why do you need a towel?
I need a towel.
I want the child to wear the lashes. Don't forget.
She will. Family, what did you say to Rosie?
When?
Last night.
I don't see a towel.
There it is, dear. Family, if you think Rosie shouldn't go, she'll stay home.
What else did she tell you?
Nothing.
She likes him, Ma. She likes him a lot.
But family...
Is that this towel that you want?
Family, I want you to tell
Well,
me if there's
Ma,
anything that you
This is
know.
all I can find. You didn't get him tied yet.
I'll tie him. The car is here?
Get your coat, Rosie.
Family, I want
Don't
to...
worry, Ma. I'll call Rosie.
All right, call Rosie.
Rosie. What did Sammy mean? What is there to worry or not to worry?
Nothing, Jay, darling. The galoshes are just where the galoshes. You ready?
Yes.
Yes, Mom.
You have your galoshes, Rosie?
Yes, sir. Let me see. Bundle up, darling, please. Bundle up. Goodbye. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Have a good time, darling. I will. And Rosie, dear, dance with everybody. Yes. You hear?
Come on, Rosie.
Bundle up, darling.
Yes, Ma. Good night.
Goodbye, dear. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Oh, here comes Dr. Cater, Ma.
Dr. Taylor. Dr. Taylor's coming.
coming in. Hello, Dr. Taylor. Oh, they told me that was Rosie. My gracious, I'd hardly know you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Ma.
Are you, Doctor?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'll take your coat, Doctor.
Thank you. A little tea, Molly, wouldn't go amiss.
Gladly. Sit down, Doctor.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Cader, how long is Walter Jerome going to stay in Glastonbury?
Oh, I don't know.
not important. I just mean if he's here for his health, Doctor, what's his sickness?
Well, if he keeps calling on my Rosalie, he may end up with heart trouble, Doctor?
Well, I hope not. I sincerely hope not.
Oh, Mr. Goldbergs, so joking. But what is Walter's sickness? I mean, if any.
Well, it's all one answer, Mrs. Goldberg. Walter's sickness is family trouble. And if he began to like Rosie, or Rosie began to like him, it'd mean more family trouble for everybody.
Well, they certainly are not...
Walter is a very nice young man, polite, intelligent, and decent. If I had a daughter, why, I'd like her to like a young man like Walter. The only trouble is that Walter didn't come to Glastonbury from nowhere. He came from something.
Something?
From a situation.
Oh.
A family situation. You know all about his mother, I suppose. I mean how she created that immense business.
Smart woman.
Yeah, but a dogmatic woman. Commanding woman. A woman used to getting her own way. A woman who wants everything she owns and everything she has to be perfect and extraordinary. She wants the same for Walter.
Oh.
Her mother's boy, she wanted,
No, not that at all, Mr. Goldberg. No, she wants her son to be like herself. Successful in a worldly way. Walter hasn't been too happy about it. Because he's as set in his mind as she is in hers. He's like her in a way.
That doesn't seem a sickness to me.
Well, of course not. Only my son wanted Walter up here for a while so some of the tension back home would quiet down.
I see, but Walter's a nice boy.
He's very nice.
And he's not sick or anything.
No more than any willful person is. He has a will of his own.
I'm glad to hear it.
Well, experience will soften his will.
I hope so. I also hope that you'll try to see that, that Rosie doesn't let her enthusiasm run away with her. I mean about Walter.
What do you mean, Doctor?
You see, it'd be unfortunate if she felt that...
Say it, Dr. Cater. What is it?
Well, there's another girl. She and Walter, well, it's been kind of settled that one of these fine days, those two will be married.
You're making tea, Molly?
I am, Jack. I am.
Well, Rosie's affection may turn into the anguish and suffering of love. Say, here's something we ought to get settled for good. I mean those halfway soaps that make dishwashing such a problem. Yep. If you use a bar soap, it only goes halfway because it doesn't have real speed. Or, if you use a tough granulated soap, it's short on safety for your hands. Well, don't struggle with halfway soaps anymore. Just change to New Does, that wonderful new kind of granulated soap for everything in your wash. And believe you me, Does has everything for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to extra safety for your hands. Notice how beautifully soft and smooth your hands feel after doing dishes with Does. Actually, Does is far kinder to your hands than any other leading granulated wash-day soap. Yet no soap made can beat Does for speedy dishwashing. Why? It cuts even tough grease without hard scouring. Yes, you can tell the difference in Does right from the start. Try it today. Does has everything for dishes. And be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Berg. This is James Fleming wishing you a good day for Procter & Gamble, makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A store clerk has been murdered, shot to death in a robbery. The hold-up man is described as tall, well-dressed. He escapes in a taxi cab. Your job, get him.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference. In Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Fatimas cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, August 17th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Walker. My name's Friday. It was 8:35 p.m. when we got to the Church of St. Damien, the vestibule.
That must be her playing the organ.
Yeah, I don't see any stairs. I wonder how you get up there to the loft.
Looks like that might be the sexton over there.
Well, let's ask her.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
We're looking for an Ernestine Matthews. Understand she's the organist here at the church.
Well, that's her playing up there now, playing over a few pieces for Sunday.
Could you tell us how to get up to the choir loft, sir?
Surely, through that door over there. Follow the stairway straight up. Can't miss.
Thank you.
Sure has been a long time.
Yeah, what's that?
Climbing stairs to a choir loft. Sang a lot in church when I was a kid. Boy soprano.
Is that right?
They finally threw me out.
Mm-hmm.
Voice change.
Yes, did you want something?
Are you Mrs. Ernestine Matthews?
Yes, did you come about the new choir book?
No, ma'am. Police officer.
Oh, can I help you?
It's about your husband, Miss Matthews.
Bert, what about him? Has Bert done something?
He was hurt, ma'am.
Well, I don't understand. Bert's working at the store. What do you mean he was hurt?
There was a holdup.
Dear God, my husband. Was he hurt bad?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is he? I've got to go to him. Is he in pain?
No, ma'am.
What are you trying to say? Dear God, tell me the truth. Which hospital is he in?
They took him to Georgia Street. They helped him all they could.
You're not trying to tell me Bert's dead? You're not trying to tell me that, are you?
I'm sorry, ma'am. In the past 16 days, 7 armed robberies had been committed, apparently by the same man. The suspect was described by victims as tall, heavily built, and very nervous. He was armed. It's cold logic that every suspect who's armed in the commission of a robbery is a potential killer. It's a fact that's been proved 100 times over. The man we were after had proven it again. We'd used every means at our disposal to identify him, through the stats office, the record bureau, latent fingerprints, through informants and witnesses. We'd gotten out an APB on him containing his description and his method of operation. We'd maintained stakeouts. We hadn't reached him in time. Early that evening, a downtown grocery store had been held up. One of the clerks, 31-year-old Bert Matthews, failed to empty the cash register quickly enough, and the bandit shot him 3 times through the chest. He died almost instantly, and the hold-up man escaped. There was only one witness, another clerk who had been on duty in the store with Matthews at the time of the hold-up. His name was Jess Tallman. He was brought to the city hall, where we questioned him further.
Did you see Bert's wife? Does she know?
Yeah, we dropped off at the church on the way in. Drove her to her sister's place.
Still can't get it through my head. One minute I was talking to Bert, next minute he was dead. It's kind of hard to take, you know.
I'd like to go over that description of the hold-up man. You were pretty upset out there at the store. Do you feel up to it now?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right, now you just take it easy. Tell us everything you remember and take all the time you need.
Well, I know he was a big guy. Over 6 foot anyway, I'm sure of that. He had a good build, too. Wasn't skinny.
How about his face, Jess? You get a good look at it?
Yeah, I did. It was thin, and he kept working it around, you know, twitching like. Guy was plenty nervous.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us anything else about it?
He was young, about 21, I'd say. Had dark color eyes. That's about all I'd swear to, Sergeant. He had a hat on, I know that.
Mm-hmm. How about the rest of his clothing?
I wouldn't be sure about it. Could have been a gray coat, blue coat, I don't know. I wouldn't want to give you a bum steer.
Did you get a look at the gun?
I couldn't miss that. It was a big one. It wasn't shiny. It was kind of dark blue color. I can see the guy now walking in the store and pointing it at Bert.
What time was that again, Jess, when the bandits showed up?
Just about 7:30. Bert was behind the counter. I was in the back stacking the shelves. The guy just walked in, pointed the gun, said, "Give me the dough." I heard him say that.
Mm-hmm.
Bert was kind of surprised. He just stood there for a minute, and the guy said, "Hurry up, give me the dough." And Bert said, "Okay, you can have everything." And he reached to get the dough from the cash register. And that's when the guy did it. He hit Bert right in the chest.
What happened then?
Bert moaned a little and fell down on the floor. I got so mad I started running for the guy, but he swung around at me with a gun and said, "Stay where you are."
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to get killed. I stopped. You can't blame me for that, can you?
Did you follow the man when he left?
Well, you see, he backed out of the store, and when he got to the sidewalk, he jammed the gun in his pocket and ran down the street. I ran out after him, saw him jump in a taxi cab and take off.
Did you get the cab's number?
Well, he was too far away for that, at least halfway down the block. I know somebody else must have been driving it, though.
How do you know that?
The cab was already moving when the hold-up guy jumped in. He got in the front seat.
How do you know it was the front seat and not the back?
The way those cab doors open, you know. Front doors swing out to the left, back ones swing out to the right.
That ties in, Joe. Used the same MO on those hold-ups last week.
Yeah. You got anything else to add, Jess? Anything you think we ought to know?
It's about the size of it, Sergeant. You don't think I'm yellow, do you?
Well, how do you mean?
I mean, because I stopped when he pointed the gun at me. Guess I should have grabbed him, but that gun looked as big as a cannon. Let's face it, I'm not that much of a hero.
Well, I'll put in with you, Jess.
Huh?
Neither am I. Along with a team of men from Homicide Detail, we continued our investigation of the holdup and killing. Ballistics reported that the slugs taken from the body of Bert Matthews had possibly been fired from a .38 caliber Colt revolver. The slugs were in good condition for identification. All the possible suspects picked from the mug books by the victims had been checked out. All of them had been cleared. Fingerprints left by the bandit at the scene of his latest crime were checked out. No make. We tried to check the taxi cab used in the escape. We got nowhere. The morning after the Matthews killing, we got a call from Sheriff's Homicide. We went across the street and checked with Inspector Bowers.
Either one of you remember that case about 6 months ago, the Harry Solomon killing?
Oh, yeah, Inspector. It's pretty vague right now. Your men handled it, a county case?
Yeah. Let me lay it out for you. It's just possible it might tie in with that killing you fellas had last night.
And what's the angle?
Harry Solomon was a taxi cab driver. The night of February 26th, somebody saw him pick up a fare at Sunset and Highland about 10:30 p.m. That's the last time he was seen alive.
Yeah, I think I remember.
The next morning, we found Solomon's body in a ditch out in the valley. 238 slugs in his head. Found his cab a few yards up the road, abandoned.
Killer used a .38, same kind of gun used on last night's job.
Here's something else that ties in.
Yeah?
A description of the passenger Solomon picked up at Sunset and Highland the night he was murdered. The last fare he ever handled.
Mm-hmm. White male American. Over 6 feet tall, heavy build. Age, 20, 21, dark eyes. Had a dark suit on and a hat.
Matches up all the way down the line.
You had a robbery motive figured on the Solomon killing, didn't you?
That's right. Except for a $5 bill hidden in his wallet, Solomon didn't have a penny of his receipts for the night. Might have been another reason behind the killing besides that.
Yeah?
It's just barely possible Solomon might have known the hold-up man, the guy who killed him.
How do you figure?
Solomon had been a cabbie for 14 years before he was murdered. From this hold-up man's M.O., using cabs for a getaway car, it's possible he might have been a cab driver at some time or other.
You mean if the killer got in the cab and thought Solomon recognized him, was suspicious of him?
That's right. Could have been reason enough for him to kill Solomon. I know there's a lot of coulds and ifs and maybes in it, but I thought you might be interested.
Well, we'll check it out first thing. How are your men coming on the Solomon case?
Progress is pretty slow.
Well, we'll keep you posted on anything new.
Fine. If we can help, let me know.
Right. Bye. 2 sets of 38 slugs.
What do you think?
Let's ask the crime lab. We put in a request to Russ Camp and Ballistics to check the 38 slugs found in taxi driver Solomon's body against those found in the body of grocery clerk Bert Matthews. Then we contacted the special agent at the taxi cab company. We asked him for pictures of all their drivers employed by the company during the past year who were 6 feet in height or over. He told us that they'd have a file ready for us the following morning. We drove back to the office and checked in with Russ Camp at the crime lab. He was examining the 38 slugs under the comparison light.
Just a few more minutes, fellas. Have a chair.
Yeah, all right.
Not much luck so far.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it.
Yeah?
No make. These slugs come from two different guns.
That night, 2 more armed robberies were committed. One at a liquor store, the other at a cafe. In both cases, the hold-up man escaped in a taxi cab. The description of the man who robbed the liquor store matched that of the bandit who shot and killed Bert Matthews. The big switch came when we checked the cafe hold-up. There, the victims described the suspect as short and fat with dark blonde hair. He had a deep scar on his chin. During the robbery, this suspect had become so nervous that he dropped his gun, but he'd succeeded in getting outside and escaping in a taxi cab before he could be apprehended. The gun was taken back to latent fingerprints and checked. It was clean. Russ Camp checked it through ballistics.
Some days are like this, fellas.
What do you mean?
That cab driver, Solomon, was shot with a .38.
Yeah?
Bert Matthews was shot with a .38. A different one, though.
Mm-hmm.
This gun the bandit dropped tonight, it's a .38, too.
Yeah, we know that. What are you getting at?
Doesn't match either case.
The next morning, we started working one of the few leads we had left. We drove down to the taxi cab company and collected the pictures of all the drivers that they employed during the past year who were 6 feet in height or over. There were 87 of them. We started checking them out. It's what the working detective calls legwork. It's slow and it's tedious, and you're not sure it's going to amount to anything even by the time you finish. 2 nights later, the taxi cab bandit hit again. His first repeater. A restaurant on South Figueroa. He'd robbed the same place less than 3 weeks before. Ben and I interviewed the manager, a Mr. Cavallo.
Telling you, Sergeant, I can't take any more of it. Twice in 1 month.
Yes, sir. Could we talk back there in one of the booths?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
You got a good look at the man, did you, Mr. Cavallo?
2 feet from him. Memorized his face from the first time. It's no joke, you know. So I have no time for the customers. I'm too busy opening the cash box for that thief. Here, sit down.
Thanks.
Well, and you're positive it's the same man who robbed you before. There's no question there, huh?
None, I'm positive.
And he used the same M.O., too.
Yeah, sure. M.O.? What's that?
Oh, excuse me. I mean, he used the same approach, the same method of operation.
Everything was the same. The man, the gun, the taxi cab, everything.
You didn't get the number of the cab, huh?
I looked for it. I didn't see any. Must cover it up some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got some pictures here, Mr. Cavallo. I'd like to have you look at them. Just tell us if you recognize any of them.
Well, I won't do any good. I already did that. They showed me pictures the last time.
This is a different lot, sir.
Oh, all right. Quite a few of them, huh?
I'd like to have you check each one of them carefully, if you would. Just take your time.
Yeah, we can't sit here without coffee. Natalie!
Well, I wouldn't...
Natalie!
I don't care for anything.
Yeah, don't be silly. You can't work without eating. Natalie!
Yeah.
Coffee, 3 cups.
Okay.
And now, where do I start?
Well, these right here, if you'd just check these over, please.
Uh-huh. No, not him. Not him either.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it's hot. No, not that one. No. Is that all?
No, I have some more here.
Oh. Hey, that's an ugly-looking guy, huh? Look at that scar.
They look familiar?
No.
Better check with the skipper when we're finished here.
Yeah, it's been a couple hours, hasn't it?
That lousy, no-good thief.
Sir?
Right here, this one. That's the guy.
You sure?
I opened my cash box twice for him. I'd know his face in a million.
Morris Copley. Age 21. Description matches. Let's go, Ben.
Thanks, Mr. Cavallo.
It's only 40 minutes since the robbery. He's probably not even home yet. What can you do?
We'll wait up. 10:30 p.m. We parked down the street from 527 Dayton Avenue, a 2-story white stucco apartment house. We checked the names on the mailboxes. Morris Copley's wasn't on any of them. We rang for the manager.
Copley? Morris Copley, no. He doesn't live here. Never heard of him.
I wonder if you'd take a look at this, ma'am.
This picture, ma'am. You ever seen this man before?
Well, let me get over here in the light. Let me see now. No, he doesn't live here.
And you've never seen him before?
No, I didn't say that. I just said he doesn't live here.
And you have seen him before?
I believe I might have, yes. Matter of fact, I'm sure of it. He's a friend of Mr. Tobin's, apartment 5. Comes to visit Mr. Tobin every now and then.
Is this Mr. Tobin in now, ma'am? We'd like to talk to him.
No, I'm afraid not. He works nights, never comes home before 2 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a cab driver.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes, rolled into the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
10:45 p.m. In the presence of the manager, we made a search of the apartment registered in the name of Ralph Tobin, the man who was supposed to be a friend of the suspect, Morris Copley. We found nothing that would tie either of them up with the robberies and the killings. Before the manager returned to her apartment, we instructed her to say nothing about our being there in case Tobin or Copley returned. We called the office and told them we'd received an identification on Morris Copley. They checked them both through R&I. Neither had any criminal record. They got out an APB on Copley. We waited. Midnight came. Nothing happened. 1 a.m. 1:30. Still no sign of either man. 1:45.
Somebody's coming around back, Joe.
Yeah. Kitchen door.
Maury, you back already?
Hold it right there, mister. Police officers.
Oh, Fanning.
Who are you? Is this a stick-up?
Police officers.
Explain, Joe.
What's it all about? What do you want?
You Ralph Tobin?
That's right. This is my apartment.
You know a Morris Copley?
Copley? Yeah, I know him. You looking for him? He's not here.
We know that. Where is he?
Wish I knew. I'm looking for him, too. He owes me money.
Copley's a pretty steady visitor here, is that right?
He was till I lent him that $65. Haven't seen him since. He took off.
When was that?
When? About 2 weeks ago. Yeah, just about. Look, you mind if I sit down? I'm a little nervous.
Go ahead.
Kind of upsets you, you know. Why are you looking for Maury?
I'd like to have you repeat what you said when you came in that door.
What I said? I asked who you were, didn't I?
No, I mean before that.
Say, I don't think I know what you're getting at, officer.
You said, Maury, you back already? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I guess I did. I guess I thought Maury came back to pay me the $65 he borrowed.
You didn't make it sound like that, Tobin. I got the idea you were expecting.
Expecting him? No, I haven't seen Maury in 2 weeks, maybe 3. He took me for $65.
All right, that's enough small talk, mister. Now, Copley's in deep. You're going to match him if we don't get a straight story.
Some cans of beer in the refrigerator. Let's have one around,
Skip the beer. Where's Copley?
I'll swear on the Bible if you want me to. I don't know. Look, if Maury pulled anything heavy, I'm not in on it.
Ben, you want to check with the manager? Ask her when's the last time she saw Copley here.
Yeah, right.
Now, wait a minute, officers. I want to cooperate. If Maury's in deep, that's his fault, not mine. That's right, isn't it?
That's right. Now, where is he?
I don't know. That's the truth. I'll tell you something else. I wasn't squaring. I saw Maury early tonight, 6 o'clock. Came here and borrowed another $5 from me.
But you don't know where he is now?
No. Said, sure like a can of beer if you don't mind.
All right, sit still. I'll get it for you.
You sure you won't have one?
No, not me.
No, thanks. I don't want him.
There you go.
good cold beer. I like it when I get nervous. It always calms me down.
Say, Tobin.
Yeah, sorry?
You haven't taken your hat off.
Oh, I was nervous. I guess I forgot. There.
Your hair always been dark blonde?
Since I was a kid, yeah. Why?
How about that scar on your chin? It's a pretty deep one.
Beer's sure good.
I asked you about the scar.
It's kind of embarrassing. I got a little high one night. Fell off a merry-go-round. Big night.
Now I've heard everything.
We had a robbery report a couple of nights ago, Tobin. Hold-up man was just about your height and weight.
Yeah?
Dark blonde hair. Had a scar on his chin, too.
I'm afraid you got a wrong slide, officer. I worked my cab every night of the week. It wasn't me.
Mind if we have a look at your car outside?
How'd you know I had a car?
We didn't. Let's give it a look, shall we?
Why do you want to look at it?
You have anything to hide, Eddie?
Of course not. I'm not like Maury. He's always in trouble, always on the lam. You probably think it's funny when you check the glove compartment in my car.
Will we?
Yeah, you will.
Why's that?
Keep a gun in there. You know how many cab drivers get shot. A guy can't be too careful.
What kind of gun do you have, Tobin?
Revolver. Regular revolver.
What caliber?
38. Why?
2:30 a.m. We searched his car, picked up his 38 caliber revolver, and then we drove Ralph Tobin back to the office where he was detained for questioning. We had a stakeout placed in his apartment. Russ Camp and ballistics checked Tobin's gun against the slugs which had taken the lives of Harry Solomon and Bert Matthews. It was found beyond the question of a doubt that his gun had been used in the Solomon killing. We confronted Tobin with the evidence. He started talking. He told us that Copley was responsible for the murder of both Solomon and Matthews, that Copley had borrowed his gun for the Solomon job. In all the robberies except one, he described himself only as the accomplice. He drove the getaway taxi cab. The only occasion he tried to handle the actual holdup was at the cafe, where he became so nervous that he had dropped his gun. Before he was booked on suspicion of murder, Tobin told us that Morris Copley still had 2 .38 revolvers in his possession. He insisted he had no idea where Copley was. Ben handled the questioning while the stenographer took Tobin's statement. I contacted Inspector Bowers and informed him of our progress. 11 a.m. I got back to the squad room. All right, did you check back through that personnel record we got from the cab company?
Yeah, I got half an idea, I think.
Yeah?
See here on Copley's application for the job?
Well, sure, we checked out all those references. They don't go anywhere.
No, I mean this right here. Married, yes. Children, 1 daughter. Age 4 months.
Hmm.
Well, this application is dated May 6th. That means his baby was born in February.
Yeah, sure. Copley was working here then, so it's 10 to 1 the baby was born in the local hospital.
That's what I mean. If we find the right hospital or the doctor, they could lead us to him.
There's the phone book. Let's go. From noon until 4 p.m., we called every hospital, sanitarium, clinic, and rest home listed in the book. The answers were the same. No record of confinement for a Mrs. Morris Copley.
Well, seemed like a good idea. Who are you calling now?
Well, we've got one more, the county hospital. Well, this is Sergeant Friday, Police Department, Robbery Detail. Yes. I'd like to find out if you have any record of confinement for a Mrs. Morris Copley. No, that's Copley. C as in Charlie. Yes, thank you.
He might have sent his wife out of town to have him, baby.
That's possible. Yeah. 1118. Thank you. 1118 Rochester, Copley's aunt.
Let's go.
4:30 p.m. Together with Olson and Thaxter from Homicide Detail, we drove out to 1118 Rochester Avenue in the Crenshaw district. The house was vacant. From a neighbor, we learned that Copley's aunt had moved 2 weeks before. We got her address from one of her friends in the neighborhood and finally located her at work in a beauty shop on Melrose Avenue. We posed as traffic investigators. The aunt told us she thought we could find her nephew Morris at home, an address on East 13th Street. 6 p.m. We located the house and parked the cars a half a block away. As we approached the house on foot, we saw a light burning in one of the windows on the left side of the house. Thaxter and Olson covered the back. At a given signal, they entered the back door. Ben and I went through the front.
It's empty.
Yeah. Thaxter!
Nothing back here, Joe. Empty.
Yeah, that's great.
Looks like somebody passed him a tip-off just in time. Look at the mess this place is in.
I got out in a hurry, all right.
Hey, what's going on here? What do you men think you're doing?
Police officers. Your name?
Silvera, one of the neighbors. You looking for the Copleys?
When they leave?
20 minutes ago, I guess, in an awful hurry. What's the trouble?
You know where they were going?
Well, no, but you might try Mr. Copley's aunt. She lives over in Rochester.
They're not there.
Well, have you tried his sister's house?
6:45 p.m. The neighbor, Silvera, directed us to the home of Morris Copley's sister, a small frame cottage on the edge of Beverly Hills. The lights were on in the living room, but the shades were drawn. Thaxter and Olson made their way quietly around to the back. Ben and I went up the front steps and rang the bell.
Yes? What do you want?
You Miss Copley?
Yes? What is it?
Police officers, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Oh, he isn't here. Maury isn't here.
We know he's here.
Living room's empty. Must be in the back, Joe.
You can't. He's in the bedroom with the baby. He's got a gun. You can't go in there.
Where's the bedroom?
It's the end of the hall at that door. He was sleeping. I think he's awake now.
The baby close to him?
He's sitting in bed. She's propped up on pillows right next to him. He's got that gun with him. Don't go in, please.
Where's the bed situated in the room?
It's right inside the door to the left. Oh, please don't go in. He won't care what happens to the baby.
Ben, I'll open the door. You hit the light switch and cover me. Watch the baby.
You better stay here, Miss Copley. Your baby won't get hurt.
Let's go. All right, let's go in.
Drop it, you.
Grab the gun, Ben.
All right, come on. I got it, Joe. All right, Copley, get him up. Come on up. Joe?
Yeah, I got it.
Just a little frightened, ma'am. She's all right.
I'll kill you, Mary. You tell him where to find us, didn't you? I'll kill you for that.
Maury, I swear I didn't. I swear.
Lousy dame. Nobody else knows she's the one who told you, didn't she?
No.
Then who did? Who told you?
You're looking at her.
What do you mean?
Your baby.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 16th, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective knows that there is one mark of identification that never changes, a man's fingerprints. The suspect may change his appearance in many ways, but his fingerprints always remain the same, a mark of identity that cannot be changed. When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality, a mark of identity which never changes. And Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality. Smoke Fatima.
Morris John Copley and Ralph Edward Tobin were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree, 2 counts. They were both sentenced to be executed in the lethal gas chamber of the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Coming up, We the People. Tomorrow, enjoy The Life of Riley on NBC.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Lyon. Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of Cain and Abel and the Santa Maria.
This is the way it started. It was one of those cold, clammy mornings that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't like to have in print. I was in my place working on a 4-minute egg that tasted like a boiled golf ball when the phone began bouncing. I let it ring a while, and I got to thinking that it might be an old-fashioned girl who knew how to cook. It was the Lion. Hello, Regan talking.
This is me. I've been working all morning.
I'll buy you a time clock. Get to the point.
This is our lucky day. I just talked to Dun & Bradstreet.
How are they?
Now, don't be funny. We got a new class, and they tell me when the Treasury Department department gets in trouble, they come to him.
Yeah?
Guy's name is Abel Roderick. Got a special from him an hour ago. He asked for a man, and I'm sending you, Regan.
You're sending me where?
His ranch. He raises horses.
Horses don't talk. What's bothering him?
Maybe it's his wife. Tell me she's got a pair of legs she'll never forget. He just said he wanted an operator out there by 12 o'clock.
You never learn, do you?
This means no.
What else does it mean?
We'll go as far as homicide and arson when they got pockets as long as his.
Money all you ever think about.
Yeah, you learn something when you're as old as I am. That's all there is to think about.
Well, then get yourself another boy and start teaching him. I don't learn easy.
Now, just a minute. That's no attitude.
Taking somebody's check before you know who's who and what's what means trouble.
Jeffrey, please. You misunderstand me. I wouldn't jeopardize your bond or the good reputation of International by accepting an unreliable client.
Look, last week that guy had a record longer than a roll of ticker tape.
I've been with Harry Presidio all morning. He knows Abel Roderick.
Yeah.
He's the grandson of Gallant Roderick. Name used to be Rodriguez. One of our finest old California families. Jeffrey, he's a gentleman like yourself.
Oh, that's nice.
He needs our assistance. Well?
All right, where is it?
In and route between here and Santa Ana. Take Firestone.
Yeah?
Now, you run out there and see what Mr. Roderick wants. And, Jeffrey.
I know.
Call me, Jeffrey. Call me if you run into any trouble.
Well, when the lion hung up, he sounded as happy as a chorus girl with a new mink coat. Oh, he's a smart guy, I guess. But he uses check stubs for a telephone directory. Well, the home of Abel Roderick wasn't too hard to find. All I had to do was to get out on the highway and look for a hill. That's where it was. One of those old Spanish-type places with a block of porches, windows, and lots of iron grill work. 20 years ago, it might have rated the good home section, but now you couldn't tell where the grass stopped and the weeds began. It's kind of used up and sad, like a derby winner with a broken leg. A tall blonde guy, about 30, in a black polo shirt, was stretched out on a beach chair in the front porch. He pulled off his dark glasses and watched me get out of the car and come up the steps. Then he gave me one of those looks, like he was already tired of knowing me.
We don't want any.
How do you know?
We never want anything. Go away.
I'm here to see Abel Roderick. You him?
No.
But he lives here, doesn't he?
Yes. Who are you?
My name's Regan.
So?
I want to see him.
Go ahead. See him.
Everybody as nice as you.
Oh, I got a merit badge for being the nicest. What did you say your name was?
Regan.
What did you say you wanted to see him about?
I didn't say.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's too hot to play games, so I'll tell you. I don't like you and he won't like you.
Well, now, what am I supposed to do? Roll down the stairs?
It might help, baby.
Well, where'd you find him, Cain?
Janie, this is Mr. Regan. He came to see your husband. I guess he has business with him.
Hello, Mr. Regan. Is Abel expecting you?
At 12.
You're 10 minutes late.
Well, I'm still trying to see him.
He's in the study. Come on.
I'll see you later, Regan.
I thought I knew all of Abel's business acquaintances, but I don't remember you.
Oh, no, I'm a new one.
And what do you do?
A lot of things.
You're very interesting, Mr. Regan.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be coming here often?
I don't know.
I hope so.
You keep your husband in a vault?
I'd like to. You're cute. Here we are. This is Abel's study. I guess he stepped out for a moment. Would a drink take off the rough edges?
It might.
Good. I'll make you one.
Okay. Where are the horses?
Horses? We gave that up a long time ago. We've given up a lot of things, Mr. Regan. Let's not worry about that. Yes, sir.
Thanks. That blonde boy out on the porch doesn't like me.
Okay. He doesn't like anybody. But let's not worry about him either.
You're crowding me.
Don't you like to be crowded?
It all depends on whose wife is doing it.
You're worried about Abel?
I'm drinking his whiskey.
I've never had any complaints.
I don't see why you should.
kind of a nasty crack is that?
You figure it, lady.
Mister, nobody talks to little Jamie like that.
Hello, my dear. Introduce me to our visitor.
Oh, Abel. This is Mr. Regan, darling. He says he has business with you.
Regan? Oh, Regan. Yes, of course. How do you do, Mr. Regan? I'm Abel Roderick.
How are you?
I see Janie's made you comfortable with a drink, so we can get right down to business. Oh, Janie, my dear, why don't you ask Cain if he'd like to play some tennis?
You're not very subtle, darling, but I was just leaving.
That's a good girl.
I hope to see you again.
Don't let her worry you, Regan. It's an act.
Do I look worried?
She's lovely, and if you're young and tall and Janie's around, she adopts you.
I wasn't an orphan.
She'll be sulky all day now. Well, thanks for coming out. I hope you can help me.
Well, so far, I don't even know who's on the team.
A man in my alleged position is quite often the object of subterfuge. You can understand that.
Well, if you mean because you got money, yeah.
To be quite frank, I have no money, Mr. Regan.
That's going to come as a shock to somebody I know.
Who?
Never mind. Go on.
It's my grandfather, Gallant Roderick. He controls all of the wealth in this family.
You his front man?
The eldest son of a son. And I live in this deplorable old shack waiting for grandfather to die.
How long you been waiting?
Too long, Mr. Regan. But I'm past 40 now. I don't know how to do anything else, so I continue to wait. Along with my devoted brother, Cain, who has the same thing to look forward to.
Yeah, I met him.
If you think he's bad, you should meet my grandfather. He fitted us with these charming names, Cain and Abel.
Well, what's all this got to do with me?
Here. Look at these. 2 little ships of silver. Perfect replicas of the Pinta and Nina, named after Columbus's fleet.
Yeah, you can't buy stuff like that anymore. Not even on a time plane.
Hardly. 20 years' work on the part of an ancient silversmith in Madrid. And a prized possession of the Rodriguez family for 7 generations. My great-great-great-grandmother wore them on her wedding dress.
Where's the other one?
You've guessed it, Mr. Regan. The Santa Maria is missing. Janie wore it to Ciro's night before last.
She lose it?
Nothing so simple. It was stolen.
How?
Oh, she was with Cain. It was late when they got back. A masked man stopped their car on the turnoff. According to Janie, he was very polite, merely removed the Santa Maria, took nothing else.
What about Cain?
He was passed out. Janie was driving. Regan, the usual thing is for me to get a telephone call and have an opportunity to buy it back. Isn't that right?
Well, a heist job usually works that way, yeah.
Well, I haven't been contacted. I'm getting worried.
What did your insurance company say?
My grandfather owns the insurance company. I've told no one but you.
You don't want him to know about it, huh?
Well, he might cut me off if he thinks I've been careless. Well, what do you advise me to do?
Wait for that phone call and buy it back.
I'm willing to buy it back, but the truth of the matter is grandfather will be in from the east this week. And the first thing he does when he comes out here is ask to see those ships.
Well, now, look, whoever pulled the job couldn't unload a thing like that without being caught. And if he melted it down, he'd be lucky to get $50. He's as bad off as you are.
Do you think you could hurry it up?
Well, I know a couple of people.
Then you'll try and contact them for me.
I'll do what I can.
Oh, thank you, Regan. Now we just sit back and wait for my ship to come in. Bad joke, huh?
I left him sitting there in that big room. He looked about as happy as a St. Bernard with a stomachache. Well, he'd have probably felt worse if he'd have been outside on the porch. Janie was there with his brother, only they didn't hear me. Well, maybe they were just checking each other for broken ribs. I didn't bother to ask. Out on the highway, about a mile from the place, a 49 Nash picked me up. I turned off a couple of times on those little roads to make sure, but he stuck with me. Once he got real close, but he was wearing dark glasses and a straw hat, and could have been Whistler's mother for all I knew. When I pulled into the lot by our building about 3 o'clock, he drifted along with the Broadway traffic. I took his license number, and then I backed out and drove over to 3500 Hope Street.
So I said, wait till I go see my friend Moriarty.
Okay, buddy, well, let's see.
I want to trace a license number.
Accident?
No.
Damn, huh? Highway to 11.
Thanks.
Next.
I want to know who's registered for these plates right here.
4E7542. This year?
Yeah. I'm a private detective. I think it might be connected with a case.
Yeah. Makes you think that?
Well, the car followed me this afternoon.
Yeah.
Just tell me who owns it, will you?
Then what?
Well, then I'm going to write you a letter.
I don't collect stamps.
You worked here too long, lady.
You telling me. 6 years I collected fines A through G. Now I'm doing this. Thanks, huh?
Who does the car belong to?
I got a lot of cars in Los Angeles. Thousands of cars. Mad months would go his brains out if he knew just how many cars there really are around this town. Well, Ruby DeRoy knows, mister, and don't you forget it. 47542 belongs to a guy named Richard I. Chambers.
Address?
Hotel De Soto.
Thanks.
Come back anytime, doll. Glad to help you out.
The name Richard I. Chambers meant about as much to me as a shipload of stale bread, but it didn't take 20/20 vision to see that there was a connection. And the whole thing was phony. It was like cutting your leg off to cure your bunions. Well, I went back to the office and checked with the lion.
Okay, Regan, give it to me.
It's a heist, one of the family heirlooms.
Into our meat. When was it lifted?
2 nights ago.
Any contacts yet?
No, none. That's why it's screwy.
What do you mean, screwy?
Well, it was a little silver ship called the Santa Maria. Now, they'd have to sell it back to Roderick or go on release.
Where does that leave us?
With another bum case.
Now, don't say a thing like that.
Well, your dope on Roderick was secondhand.
Tell me.
His grandfather keeps the keys.
How do you know?
Roderick said so.
You shouldn't let out family secrets. Now, you let me worry about that. Just find his little ship.
Yeah.
Guy called a half hour ago, left the number for you.
Chambers?
Yeah, who told you?
Who did?
Want you to phone him.
Never mind, skip that. I know where to get him. Things began to move. That meant that all the cards were out and somebody was asking for bets. Over at the DeSoto Hotel, the clerk told me that 305 belonged to Chambers. He was a little guy, about a head shorter than Margaret O'Brien. He shoved 3 inches of nose out at me through a crack in the door.
Thought I left word for you to phone.
You, Chambers?
I was having a beauty nap. Come back in an hour.
Yeah, you need it.
Look out.
Hey, what is this? Oh, tough guy, yeah? All right, you're tough. I think you're a bum.
All right, simmer down, Junior. You'll never make Eagle Scout.
Oh, you're so good. I gotta take that from you, huh?
We're gonna talk.
What makes you think so?
Everybody's grown up now.
Dickie Chambers talks when he feels like talking.
All right, Squirt, have it your way.
Hey, that kind of stuff ain't going to get you nothing, Regan.
Your weight's up, Dickie. You got a different job now.
Says you're a bum.
You tell me today.
Ask your mother.
What you want me to phone about?
Wrong track, Gumshoe. The 2 buck windows downstairs.
You're in this somewhere, and I want to know where.
You through being tough, Regan?
No. I'll let the boys in the personnel division handle you.
What do you mean?
That shiv on your dress is about an inch too long to be legal.
Call him. See where it gets you.
I'll send you a nickel later.
Okay, I'll open. Just that I don't like to get shoved around, that's all.
Why didn't you figure that before you got tangled up?
On your contact.
All right, come on, let's put the show on the road. How much does it cost?
$5,000 and 10s and 20s.
Go on.
Tonight, 10 o'clock. You come with him.
Where?
Mile this side of Santa Ana Airport. Little road turns left off 101. Drive 2 miles and park.
And then what?
Well, if you got the $5,000, you don't try anything funny. He gets his little silver ship back.
That it?
That's it, Peeper. Happy?
See you later, Dickie.
Oh, I'm checking out tomorrow.
Hey, look, Buster, you aren't any heist man. They come smoother. What's your angle?
Maybe I love jewelry. Do you care if maybe I love jewelry?
I don't. A guy like you's got to love something. I called Roderick and told him what I'd found out. He sounded relieved, like he'd been underwater for a long time, was just coming up for air. He said he'd get the cash, and I made arrangements to meet him at his place later on. Then I called the line and told him. After that, I stopped off at a place on Wilshire, and I ran up a tab watching a skinny guy trying to make a piano sound like a symphony orchestra. Well, I had some steak and potatoes, and then I drove back out to Roderick's place. It was about 9 o'clock when I got there, and the same people were on the front porch doing the same thing. I remembered what the lion had said about those legs of hers.
Oh, Drew.
Having fun?
Oh, Regan, huh? I thought I told you we didn't want any.
That was 8 hours ago.
We still don't want any.
I'm still here to see your brother.
Small business?
Something like that.
I don't like you any more now than I did this morning, and I hated you then.
Yeah, well, I'm going to cry about that when I get home.
You're pretty smart, aren't you, Regan?
Cain, please be careful.
He's awful smart.
Cain.
Let me go.
Yeah, let him go, lady. I'll give him back.
I'll show you trying to spy on people, huh? I'm going to give you something, people.
He's been drinking. Look out.
Look out, nothing. Go on. Oh!
Well, I guess he deserved that. He's nasty when he works at it.
How was the other time?
There aren't any other times.
Too bad.
Maybe he'll be different when he wakes up. What do you mean about the liquor?
Give it.
He's getting the wrong idea about everything.
What do you care?
I was a hat check girl in a cheap nightclub.
What's going on out here, Janie? Oh, Regan, you're here. What was he acting up about tonight?
Mr. Regan.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. Take care of him, will you, Janie?
Of course, Abel.
That's a good girl, Janie. Well, you all ready, Regan?
You got it?
All set. I'll be home early, Janie. Come on, Regan, let's go.
Well, we climbed in my car. We drove to the place Dickie Chambers told me about. It wasn't hard to find. It was a flat dirt road to the edge of the airport. We clicked off 2 miles on the speedometer, and we switched off our lights and parked. It was dark and quiet there, like the inside of an empty barrel. Roderick didn't have much to say. He just sat there chewing on a cigar and looking at nothing. He was real good at waiting. I looked at my watch about 3 minutes to 10, then I saw the headlights of another car coming down the road from a long way off. Roderick nodded his head, and I began to have a feeling like I was standing on top of the trap, and the warden had just smiled at the hangman.
That must be ours, Regan. Do you think we should switch on our headlights? They may not see us.
Well, unless they got wings, they got to pass us.
They don't seem to be slowing down much, do they?
I'll get out of the car.
What?
Get out of the car.
Hey, what is
Don't
this?
talk. Move.
Oh, all right, all right. What's got into you, Regan?
Come on.
Well, we can't just... Well, them think something's
Look,
wrong.
this is a packed deck. You're a ringer.
I'm not sure.
Spun him around and he fell against the car. I pulled out my gun, but it didn't do any good. Whoever it was must have been in vaudeville. That was the fastest disappearing act since Houdini.
You are listening to the story of Cain and Abel and the Santa Maria, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. If you are a graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, you may be eligible for a commission in the regular Officers Reserve Army Nurse Corps. If you are eligible and meet the high standards to qualify to serve with this fine organization, you may elect active or inactive status. In addition to this privilege, they also have the opportunity to take advantage of special training courses. So if you believe that you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply now to the Adjutant General's Office, Washington, D.C. That's the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of Cain and Abel and the Santa Maria and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there was enough loose lead around there to start a scrap drive. Whoever it was wanted to make real sure. My car was as full of holes as a canceled check. I found a .45 slug in the seat packing, and I piled Roderick inside, and I drove over to a motor court on the highway. An old lady with a dust mop or a head of hair registered us and complained about all the drunks there were in this world, and then when I got rid of her, I went out to the phone booth and gave the lion a ring. I woke him up.
It's 11 o'clock at night. What do you want?
I'm in a jam.
You're always in a jam. Tell me about it in the morning.
Look, I'm giving it to you right now.
You drunk.
I've been with your client trying to get that ship back.
How'd you do?
I got lead instead of silver.
What do you mean by that?
Somebody doesn't like Roderick.
Who is it?
I don't know. We got there for the buyback and somebody opened up.
They can't do that.
Well, they did.
Where's Roderick now?
With me. Get a doctor and come on over.
What?
He got in the way when they started the 4th of July.
Well, take him to a hospital.
Now, look, Fatso, he isn't hurt bad, but he needs help. You're always talking about money. Now, here's your chance to make some.
Yeah?
They'll give you a bonus if you keep him out of the papers.
I'll be there in half an hour.
Well, the lion showed up 20 minutes later. He had a long-faced guy with him who said he was a doctor. He looked more like an undertaker, but I didn't argue. I told the lion to keep Roderick there till I phoned back. Then I beat it over to the DeSoto Hotel. The door to 305 was open. Dickie Chambers had company, only he wasn't receiving. He was lying under his sheet. A fat guy in a wrinkled suit seemed to be running things.
Come on in, brother. I didn't know Dickie had any friends.
I guess he didn't.
Who are you?
I'm the guy who met him once. Who are you?
Ed Granger, constable. This is my territory. What's your name?
Regan, private investigator.
International?
Mm-hmm.
The Lion's Eye, huh? Know anything about this?
I talked to him this afternoon. He gave up riding horses for other things.
What kind of thing?
He was contact man on a heist job.
Yeah? Where do you come in?
I was hired. That's why I met Dickie.
Mind telling me by who?
It's a client, Ranger.
This is a murder. Okay, well, sorry, go for now.
When'd you find him?
A little while ago, clerk called, said he heard shooting. I came down with the boys and found Dickie doing the long sleep. Happened less than an hour ago.
He's a tough little guy.
Well, them 45s don't know nothing about that.
45?
Big holes, chest and neck, close range. Corner's gonna lose 2 bits. He thinks it's a 38. Yeah.
Well, look, if it turns out big, try this one for a match here.
Oh, you've been playing games tonight?
Somebody gave it to me.
Connected?
Ballistics will tell you.
Anything else?
No.
What'd you come back for?
Talk to Dickie.
No good, huh?
No good. I should have asked him earlier.
We can get you through International.
Yeah.
Well, if you got anything, remember the name. Ed Granger.
He was peeking under that sheet looking at Chambers when I left. There was kind of a sad smile on his face, like somebody put gasoline in his thermos bottle. I drifted across the street for a package of cigarettes, and then I came back and climbed in my car thinking about the whole thing. I don't know how long I sat there in the car, but when I looked up, there was a shadow against the wall of the building. It was a good-looking shadow.
Doing your homework?
Yeah, I do for a diploma.
Congratulations. What would you like for a gift?
How about a little silver ship, huh?
Sorry, too expensive. Try again.
All right, give me a 45.
What would you do with that?
Give it to a cop named Granger.
Then what?
I go home and go to bed.
You haven't asked me what I'm doing here.
I know.
Cain?
Him, too?
He isn't so bad when you get to know him.
From where you're sitting, he must have wings.
Well, if it isn't the gum heel. You ready for a laugh?
What do we got, a comedy?
Take a look, Janie. Okay, bright boy, where is he?
You sober enough to shoot straight?
I took the pledge.
Before or after you came by us out on that road?
After, baby.
You don't smell like it.
Where is he?
Try my car trunk. I'm using him for ballast.
What did you do with him, Regan?
Cain, there's some people coming. Has he told you what he did with Abel?
Not yet.
You'll have to talk to him somewhere else.
Right, Angel. Okay, Regan, come on, get out. Hurry up. Now turn around.
Let me guess what's coming.
It's a trip to the moon. Sit tight, baby. Here you go. Oh!
I settled down to having a headache. Then the headache went someplace, and I had nothing. Oh, it was a nice play. Everybody was a quarterback, and everybody had the ball. I looked as good as a fat girl in a French bathing suit. It was some time later, maybe 10 years. I had a mouthful of brandy, and my throat was burning like an oil stacker. We were in Roderick's place. He was standing over me, holding a bottle in one hand and a 45 in the other.
Coming around now. Got to work fast.
Don't worry, he'll talk. Feeling better, baby? Well, you're gonna feel worse. Now sit up, baby. Come on, it's time to talk.
Now, wait a minute, Cain. Wait. Let me ask you. We're all alone here. No one's going to disturb us. And we'll find out anyhow. Why don't you tell us what you did with him?
I got a short memory. I forget things.
It's a shame to let Cain do this to you. I think you're pretty. Might not be able to stop him once you get started.
Well, it's your idea, lady. I'm along for the view.
Iron men went out with short skirts, but I guess you don't know it yet.
You look tough, brother, but you bruise easy.
You're already wearing striped pants. You mangled it when you tagged me tonight.
Think so? Tell me how.
All right. No one knew I was a detective but your brother. That meant you hired Dickie Chambers to find out.
So you know it. So what?
So you bumped Dickie when you thought it was finished.
Well, that makes you know I'm not kidding.
There's a constable named Granger.
Cain?
Relax, Angel, relax. Don't let him scare you. He hasn't told anything to anybody.
No?
No. If you did, we would have found him in a hospital. I saw him go down.
Are you sure?
Of course I am. Now all we got to do is find him. So let's get started. You talk now, huh? No? It's going to get worse, baby. You might have to write it later. You got hold of a bad label.
Stop it now, stop it. This isn't getting us anything.
Yeah, but I'm having fun.
No, kill him.
Let go of my
Listen to
arm.
me. Now, we need him. I've got to find him in the car with Abel. It's ruined if you kill him.
I said let go. Now, where were we, baby?
I said to stop.
Huh?
Stand away from him.
Are you crazy or something?
It will work fine if you could think. But you can't think. You're no good to me anymore.
Janie. He shook all over a couple of times like he was saying no in a big way. And then he finally relaxed. She knelt down and took something out of his pocket. I tried to lift one of my arms, but I got about as far as I would trying to hook a whale with a salad fork. I must have looked real bad, because all of a sudden her eyes kind of lit up and she came over.
You've taken a lot of punishment, mister.
Yeah, not as much as you're going to take.
It's a matter of opinion. By the way, you didn't happen to be carrying that $5,000.
You're looking for a stake?
Yeah? I'm going out prospecting.
Trip around the world?
Far enough to make some new connections. That's all a girl needs. Here's the little ship. You didn't do it for nothing.
You run out of bullets?
No. If they ever get me, I'll say justifiable homicide. He was trying to kill you. You're my witness. Oh, you are pretty. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Take care of yourself. Goodbye. That's all she said, and that was the last I ever saw of her. Well, it seems that Janie and Cain had figured to tag both of us out on that road, and it'd all be blamed on a phony heist gang. There was a lot of insurance they could have turned into ready cash, but I had a feeling that when I made Abel get out of that car that night, it'd ruin things for him. Jeannie and Cain thought that they could still do it if they could find him and get us together again. That's why he went to work on me. Cain already killed Dickie Chambers because he thought there might have been a double cross, and I guess he was kind of crazy by the time he got around to me. Well, anyway, about 3 months later, a detective sergeant down in Miami Beach spotted Janie one night working a hat stand in a nightclub. Everybody wondered how he could recognize her. She dyed her hair, and it really changed her appearance. But it figured. You see, the police folder had a picture of her in a bathing suit, and she couldn't change those legs.
In Colorado Springs, Colorado, a group of men are gathered together for their annual conference. For their day-in, day-out service to the public, Dragnet honors the 57th Annual Conference of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. A man posing as a doctor is burglarizing homes in your city. You have his description. Your job, find him.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Fatimas cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented story of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, November 22nd. It was chilly in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Faggot. It was 9:35 a.m. when we got to 5918 Canyon Cove, the home of Marla Hutchins.
Yes,
Miss Marla Hutchins?
I'm Miss Marla Hutchins.
We're police officers, ma'am. This is Sergeant Romero. I'm Sergeant Friday, Central Burglary.
Come in.
Thank you.
Betty told me she called you.
Your maid?
Yes, I'm Betty Drake. I called you.
And if you could tell us what happened, please.
Dr. Arthur Schulte was treating me for headaches I have. He took my mink coats and my jewelry.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a list of what's missing?
Betty will have a list of what's missing.
Here, I've written down everything I think's gone.
Thank you.
Well, why do you say it was this Dr. Schulte? Is that right?
Yes.
Why do you say it was him that took things, Miss Hutchins?
He did it. I know he did it.
The doctor was the only other person in the apartment, officer.
When was this?
Last night.
What time was the doctor here last night?
It's about 8. I heard him leave later, about 9:15.
Is that right, Miss Hutchins?
Yes, that's right.
Well, could the apartment have been entered without either one of you knowing it?
No, sir. The back entrance is double latched, and no one could have broken in the front way. My room's right beside the front door, and I would have heard.
You told us on the phone that this Dr. Schulte was middle-aged, dark, close to 5'11", stocky, wears a goatee.
Yes.
No other distinguishing features. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How about his clothes, the way he was dressed?
He was about average. He had on a gray suit the last time we saw him.
Thank you.
You know who he is?
We'll find out.
What kind of treatment were you taking from Dr. Schulte, Miss Hutchins?
We call it hypnotherapy for my headaches.
Mm-hmm. Last night, the same thing?
Yes.
Or anything different from his previous visits?
I was very nervous. He made me take 3 sleeping capsules, and I went to sleep.
And she was still sleeping this morning when I went in and found everything in the dressing table all over the floor.
I see. Have you known this Dr. Schulte long, Miss Hutchins?
About 4 months.
Did you meet him at a party, maybe?
No, I was a student of his.
Where was this?
At a small college in Hollywood. He was the head of the school. He was a teacher, too.
Do you have the name and address of the college?
Betty can give it to you. It's in my desk.
Are you still a student there?
No. I don't take the course. I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
College was closed. That's when he came here to treat me for my headaches.
How did he start giving you these treatments, Miss Hutchins?
One day in his lecture, I fainted. Took me to his office and told me that pain was only a state of mind. State of mind.
Yes, ma'am.
My headache didn't bother me anymore. He said that relief would only be temporary if I didn't take regular treatment.
Well, did you see him regularly?
I saw him twice a week. Twice a week.
Always here?
At the college, then it closed. I don't know why. He telephoned and said he would continue here.
Well, where did you get in touch with him when the college closed?
I never did. He always called here.
Do you have any idea where he is now?
No, I just know that he's a thief.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you lie down, Miss Hutchins? You look tired.
All right.
Thank you, Miss Hutchins.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right.
Would you gentlemen like some coffee?
Oh, Ben?
Well, I could sure use some.
Well, it'd be very nice, miss. Thank you.
Officer.
Yes, ma'am.
If this man's just a common thief, the treatments he's been giving Miss Hutchins couldn't have been very good, could they?
She's still got the headaches, hasn't she? 11:50 a.m. We checked the apartment for physical evidence. There was nothing to indicate that the place had been broken into. We put in a call to latent fingerprints to send a man out to check the closet and dresser. We completed the crime report, and Betty Gregg, the maid, gave us the name and address of Dr. Schulte's college, the Los Angeles College of Psychotherapeutics and Psychiatry at a Franklin Street number in Hollywood. Ben and I got out a teletype to Sacramento asking information on the chartering of the school that Dr. Schulte was supposed to have headed. We checked on Betty Gregg, the maid, and found that she was a Los Angeles girl, parents still living in the city. She had a good reputation. 2:35 p.m., we went to the address where the college had been. It was a big brown clapboard house with several dormer windows facing the street. It was vacant. The front door was boarded up. A rental agency sign was stuck up on one of the pillars on the front porch.
Joe. What room there? Must have been where they had classes. Rows of chairs nailed down, you see?
Yeah, let me look. Yeah. I don't see any papers inside. No mail.
Hi.
Yeah.
My name's Tom Thompson. You interested in the place?
You're the agent?
No, I just live next door. I'm a dry cleaner myself, but I sort of promised the real estate agent I'd keep an eye peeled, see if I could be of help in getting on shop with it.
Police officers. We're just checking.
Oh, was there something wrong? Somebody break in?
Did you live next door when this was a school here?
Yeah, that psychology bunch here about, 10 months, maybe less. I always thought it was kind of a shoestring operation.
How do you mean?
Oh, not much dough. They're just making ends meet, no class,
Always just adults?
Well, classes used to be mostly during the day I was at work. The wife used to tell me, no kids that she ever saw.
Did you know the man that ran the school?
No, but he was a middle-aged guy with a kind of a pointed beard. Had a pal, though, a younger guy. Never stopped to talk. They're pretty tight-mouthed guys, like I said. Why, what'd they do?
Routine investigation, Mr. Thompson.
Do you have any idea where they might be contacted now?
No. The real estate agent said they skipped without paying last month's rent for him. He's been trying to find them.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember their names?
Well, let's see. Wait a minute. The older guy, the guy with the beard, was named Schultz or something like that. I can't remember the young fellow, though, but... Hey, wait a minute. I got their door.
How's that?
I got their door. The agent let me have the front door. I'm building a patio porch in the back of my house, and the glass that I took out of the door's got the names lettered on it.
Well, that's fine.
Come on. I'll see if I still got it in the garage. You throw it around here.
Okay.
A little chilly today, huh?
Yeah, well...
Want to stand back there and hit you an open?
Watch the door, Ben.
Yeah. Here we go. I like to keep a nice, neat garage.
Sure looks nice.
Oh, thanks.
Say, did these men live in the house, Mr. Thompson, or did they just use it for the school, do you know?
Oh, best I know, just for classes. Like I say, they're pretty tight-lipped guys. Not very friendly. They're real quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here it is. I got it.
Just leave it right there. We'll come over there. You won't
Okay.
have to move it. Let's see. Los Angeles College of Psychotherapeutics and Psychiatry. Dr. Arthur William Schulte.
Schulte.
DAA, PhD, SCD.
Well, close to Schultz.
Dr. Leo George Donaldson. DV, PhD, SCD.
Mm-hmm. I got it, Joe.
Okay, fine. We're much obliged, Mr. Thompson. Here's our card. If you hear anything regarding these men, we'd appreciate you calling us.
Oh, sure. I'll be glad to. Wait a minute. Here. Here's my card. Ideal Cleaners over in Ivar. If you get around that way, why, drop some stuff off. I'll see it gets special attention.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Thompson.
No, it's okay. I'm sure glad I didn't throw that glass away. Brother, look at all the letters after the names, eh? Wonder what it takes to get a lineup of degrees like that.
Paintbrush in about 10 minutes. 5 p.m. Ben and I drove back to the office. There was a report from latent fingerprints. Nothing but the prints of the two girls had been found in the Hutchins apartment. We checked what information we had on Schulte and Donaldson through to the FBI on the teletype. A check of doctors registered with the Los Angeles County Medical Association and the American Psychiatric Association failed to turn up anybody named Dr. Schulte. We had our I Bureau and Stats Office make runs on Leo Donaldson and Schulte and a rundown on the reports where the burglar had posed as a psychologist. The Stats Office turned up a couple of dozen new suspects. We pulled the mug shots and headed for the Hutchins apartment.
Looks like something doing at the Hutchins apartment house.
A lot of cruiser cars, huh?
Let's have a look.
Sorry, can't go in.
Sergeant Friday Romero, Central Burglary.
Oh, sure, Sergeant.
What's the trouble?
Girl named Hutchins shot herself.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Monday, November 23rd. During the morning, the coroner's office signed off Marla Hutchins' case. The verdict was that she had taken her own life. The police psychiatrist told us that probably the hypnotic treatments by Schulte had hastened her death. The information we'd received from the Medical Association told us that they had had complaints against the operation of the Schulte School. They had pointed out to us that it takes over 12 years in recognized medical schools to become a member of the American Psychiatric Association. Schulte had been mass-producing pseudo-psychiatrists in 8 weeks. 1:40 p.m., we met with Captain Fulton.
School was a phony. Degrees and diplomas sold anybody who had cash. Huh?
Yeah.
They're not operating anymore?
We checked that out. They're gone.
Well, here's the answer to your teletype to Sacramento.
Thank you.
Gives details on the application for the school to Schulte. He's listed as founder and dean. Donaldson is listed as staff. There are no addresses other than the Franklin Street number there.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
A month ago, Leo Donaldson opened courses of instruction in Los Angeles under the title California Physicians College of Psychiatry, 781 South Hill Street.
Schulte associated with him?
No. Have any idea where Schulte is?
No, we don't, but we're looking. We've got the support of the medical people to push a bunco charge for the operation of the old school.
Donaldson should be able to give you a lead on Schulte.
Figures they might be in contact. Looks like they actually ran the school together, even though Schulte was legally responsible.
And Ben and I have an idea on how maybe we can find out.
How's that?
We thought one of us could make a pitch to Donaldson, see if he'd sell a degree from the new school. Get evidence to support a bunco warrant and check at the same time to see if Donaldson has contact with Schulte.
Well, I'll let bunco detail know we're trying. You think you can do it?
I can try.
You know anything else about Donaldson's courses?
No, that doesn't bother me.
How come?
Neither does Donaldson. In trying to get Schulte through his former associate, Leo Donaldson, we again contacted the Medical Association. They furnished us with the name of Ralph Morse, a graduate of the Franklin Street School, who had since been killed in an auto accident. Tuesday, 11:30 a.m., Ben and I get to 781 South Hill Street, a 7-story office building in the heart of the Los Angeles business district. The directory in the lobby listed the California Physicians College of Psychiatry for rooms 214 and 216. Ben waited outside in the car. I took the elevator up. Dr. Donaldson?
I'm Dr. Leo Donaldson. May I be of assistance?
Well, my name is Frank Ditton. I wanted to ask about the curriculum here.
Well, we've just opened, Mr. Ditton. We're not quite ready to start classes. You understand this is very advanced instruction. Most of our students will have had considerable background in psychiatry.
Oh. Well, a friend of mine, Dr. Morse, said that he was sure I'd be a good student for you.
Dr. Morse?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I place him.
Well, he was one of your students at the Franklin Street School. Said that Dr. Schulte knew him quite well.
Oh, yes, I remember. Brilliant man. How's he getting along?
He was killed in a car collision.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, frankly, what I was interested in is being able to take over his practice. Could I get the same deal he got?
I think so, Mr. Ditton. What'd you have in mind?
Well, take some courses and get a degree. I worked with Morse for a while. I can set up a clinic. He did okay. I figure maybe I can, too.
Well, here's a list of the courses we'll offer.
Thank you.
We'll go over it together, and you can indicate what sphere of study you'd like to undertake.
Mm-hmm. Does Dr. Schulte teach any of these courses?
No, he doesn't. Now, the first semester will include painless and drugless childbirth, practical and applied psychology, autosuggestion, prenatal suggestion.
Yeah. Well, look, Dr. Donaldson, straight practical and applied psychology is the specialty that I want.
See?
Now, what degree do I get and how much will it cost?
Well, the least expensive is a doctor of psychotherapy at $450. A doctorate of philosophy and psychology is $500. For all purposes, if you can afford it, Mr. Ditton, is a doctorate of science. That's $800.
Oh.
That course was $1,000 at the Franklin Street School.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's a lot of money. I guess I have to have it, though. I wonder if you'd take a check now.
Certainly. You understand what a tremendous advantage these degrees are to the professional man who, for one reason or another, may never have had a chance to get a college diploma.
Well, the course is very hard.
You look like an intelligent man, Mr. Ditton. I'm sure you'd have no difficulty.
All right. Well, say, look, Doctor, I live out in Van Nuys now, and I'm working 3 days a week at the present time. It's going to be pretty tough to get downtown here. Do I have to be here every day?
Since it's the diplomas most of our students are interested in, we have, on occasion, made exceptions in cases like yours.
Well, I'd appreciate that.
We could possibly, in the case of a doctorate of science, present you with your diploma in advance of you taking the course, and you could launch into private practice at once and take the course whenever it suited you.
Well, couldn't ask for a better deal.
Everything's mentioned in this catalog, and the forms are in the back. Why don't you sit down right there?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Rules and regulations. No books are required of students. Well, that's a break, huh?
We lecture a little differently from some colleges, and therefore we've dispensed with texts because we feel they tend to confuse the data.
So when I take the course, who will be my instructor?
I will.
Well, Morris talked a lot about Dr. Schulte. Does he teach any of the classes?
No, Dr. Schulte was associated with me in the operation of the Franklin Street School, but is not the staff member of the California Physicians College of Psychiatry.
Well, I'm just wondering, if I paid extra, could I get some classes with him? Morse said that he picked up a lot of useful information from Schulte. He's a fellow with a goatee, isn't he?
Yes, that's right. Well, truthfully, I have no idea where Dr. Schulte is presently located.
I understand. Now, that's one regulation here.
Yes.
No student will be admitted who cannot show documentary proof of the successful completion of secondary school work.
High school. You can understand that, can't you, Mr. Ditton?
How do you mean?
Well, there are certain minimum academic standards we must observe.
Yeah.
In order to maintain the quality of our degree.
Dr. Donaldson accepted my check to the amount of $800. I asked for a receipt, and he filled out a blank doctorate of science degree, which he carefully lettered with the name Frank Ditton, and signed himself as dean. I arrested Donaldson, and Ben and I took him in for booking. 1 p.m. We received a long teletype from Washington. Arthur Schulte had a record of arrests and convictions back east. It started with a conviction 16 years ago for the interstate transportation of pornographic motion pictures. The record gave us no known addresses, but important in the information was the fact that Schulte had originally been trained and had worked at being a projectionist in movie theaters. In the M.O. was the notation that he'd been known to take up his old occupation when sought by authorities. 1:35 p.m., we contacted the local office of the Motion Picture Projectionists Union, where they told us that they had placed an Arthur Schulte in the booth of one of the Main Street newsreel houses on Sunday. That was the day before. 2:30 p.m. The Crescent Theater was buried between two bars and advertised an hour of newsreels and short subjects for 20 cents.
Where's the manager?
I'm him. Can we talk to you a minute, police officers?
What?
I say we're police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Nobody here to take over. Why don't you come in and I can open the booth door here and talk?
Okay. Right around the back, I guess, here, Ben. Where is he? Hey, mister.
Okay. What's the trouble, officer?
Do you have a man by the name of Schulte working here?
That's right. Projectionist isn't working right this minute, though. Comes on duty at 4. It's an hour.
All right. I wonder if you'd take a look at this description, please. There you are.
5'11". Man working here is clean shaven, no goatee. Outside that sounds the same.
Mm-hmm. Any idea where he lives?
No, I don't.
Well, we'll have to wait for him here.
All right. Wait a minute. Just one? Where you want to wait? Inside?
Well, I think we'd rather stay up in the projection booth if it's all right.
Up the steel stairs there on the right. Tell Pete Eichen. He's the man up there now. I said it was okay.
All right. Don't say anything to him when he gets here, will you, sir?
I won't, officer.
Come on, Ben. Gets this way. It's a long climb, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Slide it better.
Oh, yeah. Must be it. Hey, mister! Mister!
Yeah? Police officers. Anything wrong?
We're going to have to wait here. The manager said it was okay.
Wait for what?
We want to talk to your relief man.
You mean the doc?
You know him?
Well, just since yesterday.
Why do you call him the doc?
Oh, you know, speaks kind of fancy for a projectionist. What do you do?
Oh, we just like to talk to him.
Okay, you know, the guy doesn't come on for about an hour.
Yeah, they told us.
You want to look at the picture? You can both sit by the observation port on the film stage there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Sit over here, Ben. Is this all right here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Huh. Well,
What's the matter?
I've seen this newsreel.
5:45 p.m. Schulte was nearly 2 hours late. Ben and I were worrying about whether somehow he'd been tipped.
Usual for a man to be this late for a shift. Not in a house like this. Bigger house would be different. Way it is with a doc being late like this just cost the boss a couple of bucks.
How do you mean?
I got more dough. I'm over my maximum hours. If the old guy'd stay away long enough, I'd be on Golden.
Golden? What's that?
Yeah, double and a half time. Boys in the business call it Golden time.
Oh.
Most dough you can get is double Golden. You get that working over maximum number of hours after midnight on a Sunday.
Uh-huh.
That's double Golden. Never happened to me, though.
How do you stand it?
What do you mean, the money?
The noise.
You get used to it. Don't pay any attention after a while.
Don't you get tired of hearing the same soundtrack over and over?
No, you just know it's there. It never registers. What they're saying, I mean. Just if it stops when it shouldn't.
Get used to it over the years. You've been doing this long?
11.
It's a long time.
Excuse me. I gotta make a switch over.
What'd you say?
I said I gotta make a switch over.
I've been watching you do that all afternoon. How do you know when to turn the other projector on?
Marks on the film, up in the right corner on the screen, usually a black dot. Look through the window.
Look, Ben, right here.
Mm-hmm. The first dot tells me to start the other projector. When the second dot hits, I cut this one, turn on the other one. Now watch.
Okay.
See, the first one.
Uh-huh.
Now the second dot, see?
Uh-huh.
Smooth. You never know the difference.
Simple stuff. People never seem to notice the switches. Just a minute. Hi, Doc. A little late. Sorry, overslept.
Your name's Schulte?
That's right.
Police officers would like to talk to you.
I have to go to work. It'll wait.
You want to go downstairs?
All right.
This way. All right, this will be fine right here. You say your name is Schulte, Arthur William Schulte?
That's correct. Ever been known by any other name? Why?
Do you operate a school called the Los Angeles College of Psychotherapeutics and Psychiatry during the past year?
I'm not saying anything. Where are you living, mister? I'm not saying anything.
Let me see your identification.
Here, my wallet.
All right.
No, you hold it. Say, open that part there. I take out the card. Union card. We'll take its stubs. Social Security card.
That second thing there behind the cash. Yeah. Let's try that folded piece of paper there.
It's just a bill. Mm-hmm. What is it, Jim?
It's a bill. Milliken Hotel. Let's go. We drove to the Milliken Hotel, about 6 blocks from the theater in the same Skid Row district. We got the key from the room clerk and went up to Schulte's room. It looked like any dingy hotel room. A small footlocker sat at the end of the bed on the baggage stand. 2 suitcases were over by the closet, and sitting on the floor alongside the bureau were 2 waist-high stacks of books.
You got the key to the small trunk?
I don't have to submit to this.
Let's open it up.
Open it yourself. Here's the key.
All right. Two mink coats.
I'll check the rest of the room, Joe.
All right. This your property, Doctor?
I'm not saying anything. Just clothes, regular stuff, and bureau.
How about those suitcases over there? What do you got?
How about this?
It's a cigar box. It's taped shut. What's inside, Doctor?
Nothing you'd be interested in. I'll open it, Joe.
Schulte? Bracelets, rings, matched earrings. Fit our stolen property reports.
These were gifts. People say you took them. They're sick. I've done them a lot of good. They know. They thank me this way.
Yeah.
People I get these things from, they know I've helped them.
Well, you helped Marla Hutchins.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent. Arthur Schulte, free on bail pending trial, died of natural causes on June 15th in Fresno, California. Leo Donaldson was tried and convicted of grand theft and served a term prescribed by law in the state penitentiary.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. When the rookie policeman becomes a full-fledged member of the department, one of the first things he becomes aware of is the time-worn tradition of the peace officer. He has pride in the men he works with, pride in his job. The men who make Fatima take great pride in their job. They, too, uphold a tradition. The Fatima tradition of quality. You see, Fatima contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And pack after pack, they're extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, and have not yet enjoyed Fatima, buy a pack tomorrow. Compare Fatima with other long cigarettes. You'll find they cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Smoke Fatima.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief of Police of the City of Los Angeles, W.H. Parker.
The Los Angeles Police Department awards this citation of merit to Dragnet for its authentic portrayal of cases from the files of this department, bringing great credit to the Los Angeles Police Department and its officers, and enhancing the prestige of law enforcement generally among its millions of listeners.
Thank you, Chief Parker.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Next, We the People. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak For Hire.
I'm Pat Novak, for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Foghorn, for hire. Oh, there are other ways to say it, but down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you gotta put your best foot forward, especially if you want to trip up a friend. Down here, a friend is anybody who's been dead more than 10 years. And then it pays to watch out, because if you relax, somebody will come along and knock you on the back of your stomach. Works out all right, though. I rent boats and do anything else you can hide in the dark. It's about all you can ask, because along the Embarcadero, nothing's perfect except the heels. I found that out Wednesday afternoon. She was a lovely girl. The sort of person you'd expect to see in a choir loft.
about 3 hours after choir practice. Her hair was red. Her eyes were as cold as rigor mortis. And you knew the first time you met her that you'd been seeing her too often. Must have been about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was walking down toward Pier 19 when she pulled up alongside of me in a cream convertible.
Can I give you a lift?
You already have.
Well, is that love or reflex action?
What's on your mind?
You are Mr. Novak, but don't put on your tracksuit. It's a business matter.
Well, in that case, you've got a name.
I'm Cain Regan. I went by your office a few minutes ago, but you were out.
I'm in now. Go ahead.
It won't take me long, Mr. Novak. Stay away from Rory Malone.
Well, I'm doing all right so far. Who is he?
He's important to me. I don't want to lose him, Mr. Novak, so please stay away.
Go tell the girl. I don't even know the guy.
You will. You're not lying now. He's a prize fighter, and someone's going to try and hurt him.
Then you'd rather hurt him first.
I'm willing to pay you to stay away from him.
Suppose I'm going to see him a lot. Will you pay a lot?
I'll give you $300. All right, Mr. Novak?
You know, you're not smart, Angel. If you're pressing that hard, the other team's going to bid, too. The answer's no.
I'm afraid that's up to you. But I'm warning you, don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yeah, that's what Mother used to say. I'm still all right.
Maybe Mother liked you better, Mr. Novak. See you later.
Well, I watched her for a minute as she brushed her hair back and started the car. It was nice hair, and the dress helped, too. It was dark blue and had a V-neck, but the designer believed in big letters. She pulled away and gave me a look you could take on a safari. It was enough to tell me that she was as safe as a tap dancer on a floor full of dynamite caps. I walked up and turned in at Pier 19. When I reached the door of the office, I could see the old man sitting by the desk. He looked tired and a year older than the Bible. His hands were shaking and his skin was coarse and the color of an old razor strap. When I walked in, he glanced up at me and looked about as happy as a cocker spaniel with a stomach ache.
I could talk to you, please, Mr. Novak.
You'll try it once. Go ahead.
I'm an old man.
You want to argue or go on?
I'm too old, so I must come to someone for help. My name is Hans Newmeyer. I would like you to watch someone for me.
Someone like Rory Malone?
Yeah. But you do not
What
know
is this, Save Rory Malone Week? What's he to you?
I am his manager. Oh, you don't ever hear of me because I'm old and not a very good manager, I guess. After this fight, Rory find new manager, maybe.
Yeah? When's this fight?
Tonight. Oh, you don't know Rory. He's a good boy. He's a very good boy, Rory is.
Yeah, well, good boys don't need watching. Has he got some bad coming out?
Something funny about this fight. He meets with bad people. And Rory is a good boy.
Yeah, I just met one. How deep do they run?
At the west is a fellow named Joe Slagle. He's a bad man, a gambler. Please, Mr. Novak, you just watch Rory tonight and see he's all right.
Are you that rich?
Oh, please, I don't have much money. Just $300, maybe, what I got from the fight. Maybe 300, I don't know. I just got a little money.
It's a tie, Pop. You win the toss.
Please, you don't help me.
You win, Pop. When do I look at him?
Tonight you come before the fight. In the dressing room, I'll show you to Rory, and you see he's all right.
Yeah, about 9.
Yeah. Please, Mr. Novak. I thank you all my life. You watch Rory. I thank you all my life.
Yeah, well, I'm getting short shift on that, but I suppose it's not your fault, Pop. See you at 9. Well, I felt sorry for him when he turned and walked out of there. I could afford it. With $300, you can buy a lot of crying towels. At the door, he turned and smiled once before he shuffled out. He moved down the pier with a nervous, uncertain motion like a flower petal in a warm wind. When he disappeared, I took a cab and rode up to the press club. Oh, I found out a lot about Rory Malone, and most of it was good. He was a lightweight, and Hans Newmeyer had picked him up and brought him through the prelims up to main event stuff. He was fighting tonight against a Cleveland boy named George Zarek, and the betting was even. I ran into a Chronicle man whose wife divorced him and named a fight club as correspondent, and
He said not to worry about Joe Slagle, that Rory Malone fought for purses, and that's all. He knew about the girl, Con Regan, but he didn't want to say much, just that she was a fast 5-gated horse trying for 7. Well, I had some dinner, and I went over to the arena about 8:30. When I walked into Rory Malone's dressing room, Hans Newmeyer wasn't anywhere around. I stood over in a corner and watched him get ready for the fight. There was enough liniment being thrown around to keep an old lady's home spry for years. The other handlers were in, watching him tape up Malone and put on the gloves. Most of the people cleared out then. Malone shadowboxed a minute before a second threw a robe around his shoulders and shoved him toward the door. As he passed, I fell in beside him, and we started walking under the arena. A few feet down, I bumped up against him.
Sorry?
About what, Hans Newmeyer?
Who are you?
Where's Newmeyer?
What do you care?
My name's Novak. I'm supposed to meet him here. Do you know where he is?
No, he didn't show up. He's probably out drunk.
Does he drink?
No.
Well, that's a funny answer.
I don't know where he is. All I know is I need him tonight. I got to get up to the ring.
I'll go with you.
Suit yourself.
You gonna win tonight?
You never know.
Sometimes you do.
Mister, you're either too smart or too dumb.
What's the difference? You can't fight twice in one night.
I want to talk to you, Rory.
Not now, Kitty. After the fight.
Please, Rory, talk to me now.
Kitty, you're crazy. This guy's standing around, a lot of other people. What do you want to do? Put it on the radio?
Where's Hans? He hasn't been around. Where is he, Rory?
I don't know, Kitty. If I knew, I'd get him.
There's something wrong, Rory. I've been watching. I know there's something wrong about this fight.
Yeah. There's only going to be one guy fighting if you don't let me out.
Please, Rory, don't brush me off like a dumb fly. I know there's something wrong. I don't want you to get into trouble.
All right, Kitty.
Oh, don't say all right when you know how I feel. Oh, let's talk about you and Joe Slagle. Oh, please, Rory. You don't know what it's like to see somebody you love go crazy.
Your dough is safe, Kitty.
That doesn't count. You know that doesn't count, Rory. The little money I've saved doesn't count next to you. Oh, please, Rory, don't do anything wrong. I'd die. I'd die of terrible heartbreak. It hurt me all my life.
Stop it, will you, Kitty? Now stop crying. Don't worry, I'll win.
Just don't let anything happen, Rory.
I won't. I'll see you after the fight. Coming, Novak?
Yeah. You're real good with your women, Malone.
After this fight, I want to match with you, Novak.
I've met 2 of them, and they both have you in their dream books right on the flyleaf.
I'll remember. Talk some more.
I'll talk enough to tell you that you're being followed, about 12 inches behind.
That's right, Malone. Keep walking. Turn in the next door.
Hey, wait a minute.
You better walk, Malone, unless you can outrun a bullet.
You too, mister.
I agreed an hour ago.
All right. Open the door for him, Eddie.
Okay.
You stand over here. Now, Malone, take off your glove.
I'm going to need it.
You're going to be eating teeth. Take off your glove. Help him, Eddie. Yeah. That's it. Hold him on the other side, Steve. Put his hand on the table, Eddie. Now, give me the block. Yeah. You can cry, Malone. It's going to hurt. Hold him up. Keep his hand out there, Eddie. Put the glove back on, Malone.
It's too smashed up.
It'll hold the pieces. Put it on.
You better put it on, Malone. You're overmatched.
That's it. Now go on up there and look good.
Yeah, why don't you loan him the gun and he'll win in 2 rounds.
Look, mister, I don't know who you are, but I'm sick of your mouth. It's a big floor, so stretch out.
During the next 2 hours, they either moved me or the arena because I woke up in an alley down near the Golden Gate Theater. It was in back of a restaurant, and I was lying there trying to look good in a mixed green salad. My head was about the size of a diving bell, and my clothes were so rumpled and dirty I looked like a leg man for the Hobo News. I tried to get to my feet once, but it wasn't easy. It was like trying to push a basketball through a stovepipe. I think it was close to 11 when I got out to the street. I didn't even buy a paper to find out about the fight. I grabbed a cab and went up to my apartment, ironing out my spine. It was a good idea, but the girl at the desk had a message from Hans Newmeyer. He was out at the California General Hospital, and he wanted to see me right away. When I got there, he was at the end of a ward on the 3rd floor, but the duty nurse wouldn't let me by. Oh, she was a real pretty nurse, if you like pure mammal. Somebody buzzed, and when she oozed down the hall, I ducked into the ward and started looking for Hans Neumeier. It was dark, and he was away down at the end behind a white screen. He looked tired, and his eyes were moist and soft, like a ripe fruit that's just been squeezed too hard.
Please, Mr. Novak, you come to see me.
Yeah, just as soon as I got your message.
You make mistake with Hans. I don't send message.
Somebody wants to be your secretary. What happened to you?
In my room. I just go to my room. Somebody is there. I don't know. Rory is all right?
I limped a little, mister. Your boy got his hand smashed.
Rory's a good boy.
He's got a good girl. Who's Kitty?
Oh, she's go with Rory a long time. Save money to marry with.
Wait a minute. Keep still.
Something the matter?
Yeah. Somebody coming. Down this way. Coming up behind that curtain.
Maybe Rory comes to visit me.
Whoever came to visit him didn't stay long. The old man leaned back in the bed and quit without any fanfare, like a long summer coming to an end. Well, I went out to get the nurse, and I found her down at the end of the hall giving an intern some greedy talk. She hadn't heard the shots, and they hadn't seen anybody come out of the ward. I told her as much as I could, and then she wheeled the old man into another room and called homicide. Well, that call to homicide didn't help, because from now on, things weren't going to improve. I was fighting a forest fire with a can of kerosene. About 20 minutes later, Inspector Hellman showed up. He was full of finesse and fury, and he came charging over about as graceful as a lame lobster.
Hello, Novak. You're up late.
I had company most of the time.
Yeah? And did he bore you?
Somebody got tired of him. It happened behind a screen down there in the ward.
Who is he?
Guy by the name of Hans Neumeier. He manages a fighter named Rory Malone.
Yeah?
The killing's mixed up with a fight fix.
Not the Zarek fight.
Yeah, that's right. They got to Rory Malone 10 minutes before ring time.
You got a thin story, Novak.
Look, I got a fat one. And I got all the gambling dough in town on my side. The old man got it because Rory Malone was dumped in that fight.
I don't believe it.
You don't have to believe it, Hellman. They smashed him up. His right hand was as limp as an old piece of lettuce when he climbed into that ring.
They should have smashed both hands.
Huh?
Because Rory Malone won by a knockout in the 5th round. Try another page, Novak.
When Hellman told me Rory Malone won that fight, I might as well have handed him a feather. I stood there feeling like a guy peddling dope at his sister's wedding. How could Rory Malone have won that fight without a hand grenade? When I saw the hand, it wasn't strong enough to flatten a piece of silk on an ivory table, and yet he won by a knockout in the 5th round. Well, it pointed to one thing. Zarek had taken a dive. But why the double fix? Why had they smashed Rory's hand? Oh, it was a goofy pitch, like sending for a plumber to fix a hole in Boulder Dam. I didn't have time to wrestle around with it because Hellman had talk on his mind.
You can't get a bookie in town to take bets on this one, Novak.
No, not with you setting the odds.
They were that way when I got here, so don't write up a clean bill of health. The guy's dead and nobody else is volunteering.
Oh, you'd muff a confession anyway. Before you tumbled, they'd have to cut it in stone across the front of City Hall.
What were you doing with the old man?
Helping him over the rough spots.
Or taking him over the hurdles?
He hired me to watch Rory Malone. They were stepping up the pace on his boy.
For instance?
For instance, Joe Slagle. Everybody says he had a stake in the fight.
You don't throw a fight by winning in the 5th round.
That's what the book says, but sometimes the book's wrong. You better look up Joe Slagle, and on the same trip you can stop by and see a gal named Regan.
Yeah? Why?
She's Malone's new sparring partner, a tall redhead with lots of dry cells.
Oh. She sounds nice. I'll talk to her. And Slagle, too. But I'm going to find out about you and Rory Malone first. I'm going to run down the stuff on this fight, and I'll find out where you fit in. Don't worry, Novak. I'll dig you out.
You could dig the jelly out of an omelet, Hellman. Look up the girl and Joe Slagle. They'll talk.
Not about each other.
There's some connection there. I'll give even money they're friends.
They ought to be.
What?
They were married a month ago in Las Vegas. Or don't you know about love?
Hellman stood there a moment and smiled like a guy who's just killed a landlord. And then he turned around and walked out. Well, I stayed until they wrapped up the old man. And after that, I went to the Chronicle office and pulled the clips on Joe Slagle. He'd been to 3 jails and gotten his master's at Alcatraz, and there were some pictures of him at the racetrack. He had a face any museum would buy and a forehead that was so low he must have had to look down to see his hairline. There was one other thing about him I noticed. He was the same guy who'd smashed Rory Malone's hand. I began to wonder about that friendship, but it was getting late and I had to work fast, so I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. Well, he's a smart guy until he decided a head on your beer is worth more than a head on your shoulders. I finally found him in a little joint down on Geary Street talking some woman into giving up all men under 50.
Ah, Patsy. I've missed you in a rather trivial way.
Yeah, all right, Jocko.
I'm giving this woman a lecture on diminishing returns.
Jocko, will you stop drinking long enough to listen?
Patsy, you fail to understand my drinking. Actually, I hate whiskey, but I go on drinking as a sort of sop to Providence.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows the guardian angels take care of small children and tipplers, and since I've passed the age where I look well in rompers, this is a very clever dodge to get a little outside help.
Jocko, are you ever going to change?
Patsy, don't you know what a burden change is to a man as old as I am?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's not the change we mind, it's the way it happens, by degrees, never giving you a chance to remember anything else, so it's heartbreaking, Patsy.
All right.
It's like visiting a half-forgotten neighborhood. It hasn't changed completely, just parts of it. A few old houses and some human remnants is still around, enough to remind you of the change, but never enough to make you happy. It's that way with growing old.
Will you listen?
They don't allow you to grow old suddenly and leave. They insist on this policy of having you dribble off into eternity. It's undignified, Patsy, feeling like a bowl of old dishwater with the stopper pulled out.
Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Oh, why didn't you say so? What's the matter?
An old guy by the name of Hans Newmeyer is dead.
Oh, bless him.
Homicide's full of fever. They think I killed the old man.
What did he do before he stopped doing it?
A fight manager. He hired me to watch his fighter, Rory Malone. He should have hired a team because somebody got to him in the hospital tonight.
How do you fit in?
Well, I was just passing through when the noise started.
That was General Custer's problem.
It's tied up with tonight's fight. Newmeyer was afraid of a gambler named Joe Slagle. He was around tonight and smashed Malone's hand before ring time.
That's a hard way to lose.
Yeah, well, it's a harder way to win. Malone won by a knockout in the 5th.
Was he fighting his father?
I'm not getting any place, Jocko, and I'm doing it in a hurry. It's a bad fit all the way around. They took 2 tries to get the old man, and if Slagle bought the fight, why'd he smash Malone's hand?
Let's have a drink.
Jocko, you've got to help me.
Oh, it's the thirst that's confusing.
I want you to get up to Rory Malone's place. You can find it in the book. Go through his stuff and try to pick up a lead, will you?
Why don't you do it?
I'm going to look up a girlfriend named Regan. She's married to Slagle, but she's trying to work Malone into the act.
Oh, well, in that case, I'd be in the way.
Look, I'm in a spot, Jocko. Now get up to that apartment, will you?
What if Malone walks in and finds me going through his stuff?
Stop worrying.
Well, he almost killed a man with one broken hand. Suppose someone smashed the other one.
Well, I had to do something quick because the kettle was on to boil. By the time Hellman got to him, Slagle would have an alibi, and my story about the smashed hand wouldn't prove a thing. Oh, I had to grope around and pretend like a guy on the second verse of the national anthem. I decided to tag by Slagle's place, and on the way I bought a paper to read about the fight. Malone looked real bad for 4 rounds and then came out of the woods fast with a left hand in the 5th. It was about midnight when I got to Slagle's apartment and began to look more and more like it when Regan opened the door. Oh, I could see Rory's point. She was the sort of a woman you'd never give a second look, because the first would paralyze you. Her red hair looked brighter now, and, well, legs like that are the reason silkworms are born. She smiled, and you knew if you never made Naples, you could die happy with her. But I guess she picked her friends.
It's too late for the 300 now, Mr. Novak.
I'm working free. Invite me in, huh?
Sorry, darling.
You look lonely. Where's Slagle?
I agreed to marry him, not follow him.
How about Malone? Somebody killed his manager.
I'd like to help you, Mr. Novak, but I don't like you well enough.
Well, you can make love later. Give me answers now. Where you going?
You're not welcome.
I want to know what those bags are packed for.
I don't trust the drawers. Now get out of here, Mr. Novak.
Calm down and put the gun away.
Get out of here. You came uninvited. I'll kill you the same way.
Hello, Novak. You going to lose an argument?
Well, it looks that way. If she's yours, call her off, Malone.
You're too tough, Con. Let him walk out.
He steamed in here full of questions.
That's a bad way to answer. Relax.
That's what your man Newmeyer's doing. Somebody killed him tonight.
I know that, Novak.
Your eyes aren't very red.
I can't help it, Novak. All I can do is square his beef.
Well, you can start with your girlfriend. She's leaving town, or did you buy the tickets?
What's your hurry, Cain?
If I want to leave, I can leave, Rory.
I'll argue with you.
You'll get the short end, Rory, because I'm leaving. Stay away from me.
You're too close.
Rory, stop it. Someday they'll met you even, Rory.
Maybe it's a referee. I'll get it. Yeah.
You got a deep voice, Miss Regan.
What's on your mind, Hellman?
Joe Slagle right now. He cleaned up in tonight's fight.
Not with a betting even.
Wasn't after the first round. Word got out that Malone broke his hand. The betting changed.
And Slagle covered every bet in the house.
That's right.
Well, the old man tumbled before it happened. That's what he was afraid of.
And the shock killed him?
Slagle did. You got a motive now, Hellman. You better look him up.
We did. He's dead.
He couldn't be dead.
If he's not, the bullet holes are good fakes. See you soon, Novak.
Well, I didn't talk to the girl and Rory because I knew they'd dummy up on me and I had nothing to go on. Oh, it was like trying to build a wall out of jelly consomme. Nothing added up now. Whose side was Rory on, and where did that other girl, Kitty, fit in? My luck was on the black market tonight, and I knew it. So I went by my place to check with Jocko. He was in the kitchen, and he looked worried.
Ah, Patsy. I was going to break open the thermometer until I found this bottle in the closet.
All right, Jocko. What'd you find out?
That it pays to know Joe Slagle. There's a $20,000 check in Malone's desk. Slagle signed it.
He could afford it. Somebody killed him an hour ago.
Where was Malone?
I don't know, but that's not gratitude.
Well, maybe he'll wire regrets. You'd better get up there. All his stuff's packed for a long trip.
Well.
A couple of trunks and all his bags. Does that sound like a weekend party?
I don't know, Jocko. He's kind of fancy. Maybe he likes a lot of laundry. Up to now, it was like trying to melt a pound of diamonds, but when the turn comes, everything happens in a hurry, and things began to fall faster than snow off a warm roof. If Jocko was right, it meant Rory and the girl fought, but they did a lot of clinching between rounds. Well, I got a hold of Hellman and brought him up to date, and then I started for Rory Malone's apartment. When I got there, Hellman was outside the door listening, as quiet as a washing machine full of pebbles.
They must be in the back room. I can't hear a thing.
You couldn't hear a rifle shot in a boxcar, Hellman. Let's get a better view, huh?
Hello, Novak.
Gonna miss your train, Malone.
I don't believe you.
It's a chance to bet, Mr. Novak.
This is Inspector Hellman from Homicide.
Well, you guessed wrong, Inspector. I'm covered for Joe Slagle. Novak here's alibi for Miss Regan.
We can check.
You're scraping bottom, mister.
We can start with that $20,000 check from Joe Slagle.
That's where you'll stop, too. My $20,000 covered a sale of my contract. The fight commission can beef, but that's all. You ready, Con?
I hope you are, too, because you're going downtown.
Look, fella, you'll make us miss a train, but we'll catch the next one.
You're wishing now, Rory.
Who's this?
A fast friend with a slow burn. Hello, Kitty. Your boyfriend's gonna leave. Say goodbye.
Please, Rory, you're crazy to go with her.
She makes me that way, Kitty. I'm sorry.
Rory, I've done too much for you. I kept loving you all this time. You can't leave. You can't leave now. I don't want to be alone.
Buy a dog.
No, Rory. No, I won't let you go.
You're too good with guns. Drop it. You better take her, Hellman. She's anxious.
Oh, please, Rory. I loved you too much for this. I loved you enough to kill somebody. You can't leave, Rory. You can't leave me to myself.
When the guy comes, tell him where the baggage is.
What'll become of you, Rory Malone? What'll become of you, Rory Malone, when you have to think about me? When you hear the sound of me in your head? Oh, you're brave, Rory. You're brave to leave me alone.
Come on, Con. In a place like this, we're wasting you.
Come back! Come back, Rory Malone! Come back long enough to watch them laugh at me. Watch them laugh at me for the fool I am. Oh, it's the great fool of the world I am.
Well, it doesn't prove much, except the right kind of a heel can grind you into the dirt fast. Well, Hellman pieced most of the story together. Slagle and Malone planned the fight, and it went off without a hitch. Slagle bought off the other fighter so that Malone could win as soon as the bets had been covered. Hans Newmeyer had an idea, but he liked Rory too much to believe it. They found out he was coming to me, and Con Regan tried to scare me off. She looked too good to Rory, and the scheme started to grow. He lied to Slagle after the fight about Newmeyer, so Slagle went into the hospital and killed the old man. That left Slagle around to cloud things up, so Rory Malone told a phony story to his girlfriend, Kitty. She loved him enough to kill Slagle. There was no way to stick Rory Malone. He could never fight again with that hand. But he had a check for $20,000 to start on, and that's enough to keep love in the living room. Well, Hellman asked only one question. Why would a smart gambler like Slagle take a chance on giving Malone a check for $20,000? I guess Malone found out when he tried to cash that check because Joe Slagle was big-hearted but broke.
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the 6th of a new series, Pat Novak For Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced and directed by William P. Russo. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. In our cast were Yvonne Pate, Stephen Schnabel, Frank Lovejoy, William Baeff, and Ted DeCorsia. This program is being released to our servicemen and women overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Be with us again next week when over most of these same ABC stations, we will bring you Pat Novak For Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. Now, a listening reminder. Don't miss Jean Arthur and Robert Morley when they star in the compelling drama Yesterday's Magic on Theater Guild on the Air tonight. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. An accomplished check forger resumes operations in your city. The suspect's described as a middle-aged woman. She's written more than $20,000 in bad checks. Your job, get her.
In a moment, an authentic case from official files.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Fatimas cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch on a forgery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Elliott. My name's Friday. I was on the way back into work, and it was 7:53 a.m. when I got to room 29. Forgery detail.
Morning, Joe.
Hi, how'd the weekend go?
Oh, pretty slow. Stayed home, did some gardening.
How about that new lawn you put in? How's it doing?
If we want a lawn, we're going to have to move.
What's the matter now?
Same old thing.
Gophers?
Must be hundreds of them. So many holes at the top of the lawn looks like an old punch board.
Oh, that's too bad. Can't you try some kind of poison on them? Or how about those new things they got out? What do they call them? Gopher bombs?
I use them with a dozen. They eat anything.
Joe? Ben?
Yeah, Ferguson.
Morning, Captain. Let's see.
Okay.
What's up, Fergie?
You ain't gonna like it. Skipper will brief you.
Morning, Skipper.
Hi. Have a seat.
Yeah, thanks.
You two finished up with the Benson case yesterday, is that right? Yeah, it's all washed up. We're clear. Good. Then you can start on this one right away. You'll work with Frank Besser and Ferguson here. What is it? Grandma.
I had a hunch, Joe.
What have we done to deserve this? It's nothing any of us have done. It's what we haven't done. I want her stopped once and for all. Are we any closer to her than we have been, Fergie?
Just about same, Joe.
That's why I'm putting 2 more of you on it. How well do you know the case? Well, just what we've heard around the office.
Same here. I could stand some briefing.
Ferguson?
Well, you must have heard how she operates. 3 months out of the year, April, October, and December, that's all.
She's never been known to change that schedule?
Not as far as I know. She's been doing it the same for 9 years.
All the phony checks she cashes are personal checks.
That's right. She never writes them less than $2 and never more than 100.
9 years. She been going that long?
9.5. It'll be an even 10 this October. You want to check them out on the totals, Ferguson?
Up to and including the first of this month, she's cashed 1,273 checks. The total's a little over $22,000.
Anything special about the way she writes the checks? Nothing but the signatures. There's an alias list on her that'll knock your eye out, more than 200 different names.
Her description's still the same, about 50 years old, kind of plump, nice face.
A few minor changes. Last year she had gray hair, dressed very plain. This year she dyed her hair black, dresses a little more expensively.
9 years. That's a long streak of luck for any paper hanger.
That's just it. This old gal's not just an ordinary paper hanger. She's no amateur, don't get me wrong, but she doesn't operate like any check forger I've ever known. She contradicts part of her MO, part of it she doesn't. She takes chances an ordinary paper hanger would never take, and she gets away with them. Take a look at just one of these exhibits. Yeah? This one here. 28 checks passed on the same chain of grocery stores, same company.
She passed them all in 1 month?
No, that's just the point. 2 years ago, she passed 14 of them, spread them out over a period of a month. Last year, she passed another batch of 14, all within 3 days. 1 year, she used a different name on each check. On this batch, she used the same name. Well, does she have any identification when she passes these checks?
Always. Phony driver's license, social security cards, it works. And she's got that sweet grandmother smile of hers. Clerks rarely turn her down when she shows up with a check.
You can get used to different descriptions of her, too. Give the file a look. Hardly 3 of the check victims can get together on what she looks like exactly. Well, where are they getting stung most? Downtown or out in the neighborhoods? The neighborhoods. Anywhere from the beach area to the valley.
This whole file, Skipper, that's not just her work, is it?
Every last bit of it. We can't fit it in a 6-foot shelf. In 9 years, I've had 5 teams of men work this thing. None of them reached her. You and Friday make the 6th. It's April 17th. How's she doing so far this month, Fergie?
Cashed $624 in checks we know of since the first of the month. Same general description, same general M.O.
No fresh leads?
She's been operating 9 years, Joe.
Yeah.
Just as good as ever.
To the working detective, there's no tougher job than tracking a lawbreaker who's half professional and half amateur. You can expect a criminal who's entirely professional to react generally the same in a given set of circumstances. And the same with the amateur. But take the two, the professional and the amateur, and intermingle their possible and probable reactions. You'll likely have a sound reason why and how an elderly woman could victimize merchants with $20,000 in bad checks over a period of 9 years without being caught. Grandma, as she'd come to be known, worked only 3 months out of each year, April, October, and December. Her apparent fine sense of timing and her knowledge of psychology was far and away superior to that of the ordinary paper hanger. If the file on Grandma was any indication, she apparently had been born to be a successful check forger. After Ben and I spent 3 days on the case with Sergeants Ferguson and Besser, we were almost convinced that there was only one way we could reach the suspect. She had to make a mistake.
Fergie, how'd you do?
Pretty sour. 4 checks in 2 days. What'd you fellows get?
2. Don Meyer checked the signatures. They're all hers.
Mm-hmm. Here's our list if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Meat market out in Pico, $25. Grocery in West Hollywood, $48. 2 department stores downtown, $100 apiece.
Well, how do they describe the woman?
Same old yarn. She was a nice, charming little lady, about 55 or 60, small, dark hair, graying, dark eyes, nice smile. Clerk told me she reminded him of his mother.
Yeah.
How'd you make out on those 2 of yours?
All about the same. Even the story about her looking like somebody's mother.
Well, one thing's sure. Her timing's just as good as it was 9 years ago.
Downtown Merchants Association screaming again. They're looking for action.
So are we.
You talked to Captain today?
Yeah, he's looking for action, too. I don't know what we can do unless we get some kind of cooperation from the merchants. Every time the old gal pushes a bum check, it's 3 or 4 days before it gets to the bank and we hear about it. The trail's pretty cold by then.
Yeah, Joe and I were talking just before you came in, Fergie. We can't expect too much to happen the way we're going.
Any ideas?
More men and more stakeouts. The captain says he'll buy that. That's about all we can do.
Another 10 days and April will be over. Grandma'll be through pushing checks till October again.
I don't know, Joe. Her formula's too perfect for me. There's got to be a flaw in it someplace.
Yeah. You got out a bulletin of that revised description of her, Fergie?
Yeah, it's all taken care of. Special notices were mailed out to merchants, too.
Again?
Yeah.
Forgery mail? Yes, sir. Was that? That's all. Yeah, right away, thank you. Supermarket on Temple Street. Grandma. Hit him with 2 checks.
Any lead?
Clerk says she reminded him of his mother.
A week passed. The number of stakeouts on business places throughout the city was doubled. The M.O. and description of the suspect was circulated among the merchants in the downtown and suburban shopping centers. Clerks were especially warned to be on the lookout for. The precautions went for nothing. Grandma's checks kept showing up at the rate of 2 and 3 a day. On April 27th, she passed a check for $50 at the delicatessen on Hollywood Boulevard. We drove out to interview the owner, Mr. Hammerson.
Do you have one of those circulars we sent out on this woman?
Well, I'm ashamed to say it, Sergeant, but I have, hanging right back there in the storeroom. The thing of it is, I never connected the two, the woman and the notice. It's the way she looks at you, you know, like you'd be a heel to even question her.
Mm-hmm. How was she dressed the last time she was in? Do you remember that?
Well, she had kind of a plain black coat on. Would you excuse me a minute? I don't like to keep customers waiting.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Yes.
How are you, Mrs. Lyons?
Need some cold meat for kids' lunches. What do you got nice and fresh?
You see right there in the case. Head cheese is very fresh. Good for the kiddies. Pimento loaf's nice, too.
Oh, kids don't like either one. Fussy. You better give me 35 cents that small bologna, would you?
Yes, ma'am.
Kids are so fussy nowadays. Ought to be in Europe. That's what I tell them. I know what it is to go hungry. Oh, you better give me a couple of those large kosher pickles, too. Husband's crazy for them.
Yes, ma'am.
And a loaf of the rye, too, would you know, seed?
Yes, ma'am. How are the kiddies doing in school, Mrs. Lyons?
Oh, fine. Marilyn's in the school pageant next month. She's going to be the queen.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, I don't know how nice it is. More work, that's all. I have to make her costume.
There you are, Mrs. Lyons. Put it on the bill?
Yeah, would you do that? I'll see you the 15th of the month.
Yes, ma'am. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Sorry to keep you waiting, officer.
Not at all.
Let's see now. Where was I?
Well, we asked you how the woman was dressed.
Oh, yeah. Had a black coat on. I told you that.
Yes, sir.
Very plain-looking clothes, like any other housewife. Print dress, some kind of a scarf around the neck. That's about all I noticed.
How about that description of her in the bulletin we sent you? That fit her pretty well?
Yeah, I guess so. She didn't exactly seem plump to me, though. kind of a nice figure for a woman of her age.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if any of your customers were acquainted with her?
I wouldn't know that. She acted as though she knew some of them, but now that this has happened, I can see she was just putting on. She was a great disappointment to me.
Yes, she is to a lot of people.
I used to josh with her all the time. I'm a widower, you know. Thought once or twice I might even date her up.
Is that so?
Yeah, she seemed like a real good sport, joshing all the time, fine personality, just as homey as you please.
Well, that fits in with the other descriptions.
Are you ever going to catch somebody like that?
2 days later, on April 30th, right on schedule, the flow of bogus checks in Grandma's handwriting suddenly stopped. If she continued to work by the same timetable she'd been using for the last 9 years, she wouldn't start operations again until the 1st of October. During the next 5 months that followed, from May to the end of September, Besser, Ferguson, Ben, and I handled the usual run of check cases. At the same time, we used up every spare hour we had making preparations for the suspect's next appearance. Every businessman throughout the city who might be a possible victim was alerted. A revised description of the suspect, together with her M.O., was printed up and given wide distribution. Every possible precaution was taken. October came. Grandma started on the 10th year of her forgery career without a hitch. On October 1st, she cashed a check for $75 at a large downtown women's shop. As soon as we got the report, we went to the department where the check had been received. A fashion show was in progress.
She's wearing a deep white velvet dinner suit, the newest shade for evening wear. You will notice the pencil thin skirt and a doll with 3/4 sleeves.
Excuse me. Are you Mr. Montrose?
Yes? What is it?
Police officer, sir. Forgery detail.
Oh, yes, that check. I wonder if you could hold on for just a moment.
Yes, sir.
Miss Janice Morgan next. She wears a gown of striking originality with rich but simple lines. A black dinner dress, a satin skirt with handmade forms, a sculptured silk and latex sweater top with an oval neckline punctuated with ball fringe.
Hey, Joe. What kind of outfit is that the model's wearing?
I don't know.
Not much to it.
All right, officers. Would you like to step this way, please?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is my office here. Well, I don't know what I can do for you, gentlemen. The check was passed. Very unfortunate occurrence.
You okayed the check for cashing, is that correct?
Yes, the sales girl handled the transaction. She showed me the check. I knew the signature, so I okayed it.
Mary Walker?
Yes, that's how this check was signed.
What kind of identification did the woman have?
Her charge account plate. You know, the small metal card, charger plates we call them. I recognized that in the signature immediately.
You know this Mary Walker pretty well?
She's one of our best customers.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes, rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Friday, October 4th, 2 p.m. Before we left the store, we found that another worthless check bearing the signature Mary Walker had been cashed in a different department of the store the same day. The woman had used the same means of identification, a metal charge account plate stamped with the name Mary Walker. We took the two checks back to the office and had Don Meyer in handwriting compare the signatures. There wasn't any doubt in his mind. The writing on both checks was Grandma's.
Well, it was only a hunch, but it was beginning to look as though the suspect had finally done what we'd been waiting 9 years for her to do. She'd made a mistake. Ben and I drove out to an address in the Wilshire district to interview Mrs. Mary Walker. She fit the same general description of the suspect, but she denied writing either one of the checks which bore her signature.
It's out of the question, Sergeant. I couldn't have written the checks. I haven't even been in the city for the past 5 days.
Then the signatures on these 2 checks here, Mrs. Walker, they're not yours.
It looks like my handwriting, but it's not. I didn't write those checks. They're forgeries.
Yes, ma'am. You do have a charge account at the store, don't you, ma'am?
Oh, yes. I've had an account there for years. Nothing like this has ever happened, though.
You have one of those charge account plates?
Well, yes, I did have one.
You lent it to someone in your family?
No, as a matter of fact, I lost it. I meant to report it to the store, but it slipped my mind.
Do you have any idea where and when you might have lost it?
Well, I think it was last Sunday night. I'm not sure. Oh, well, just a minute. I know who would remember. And there's Lambert. She was there. I'm sure she'll remember.
Who's she, ma'am?
A girlfriend of mine. She lives in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Inez. Mary Walker, Inez. Oh, just fine. And you? Oh, good. Say, Inez, which night was it we went to the Boosters Club meeting? Sunday? Yes, I thought that it was. Oh, nothing. Just some silly misunderstanding. Yeah, well, all right, Inez. Thanks for remembering for me. Yes, goodbye. It was Sunday night, Sergeant. Inez Lambert and I went to the neighborhood Boosters Club meeting. I'm sure that's where I must have lost it.
Well, you think the charge account plate fell out of your purse, is that it?
Well, either that or it was taken.
Why do you say that, ma'am?
Well, it's a serious thing. I didn't want to mention it.
What's that?
I left my purse on the chair next to me a part of the evening. When I got home, I thought I was missing a $5 bill from my change purse. I didn't notice at the time my charger plate was gone.
Do you remember who was at that meeting, Miss Walker?
Oh, 40 or 50 people at least.
How many women would you say?
Dozen or so, I suppose. I'm not accusing anybody of robbery, Sergeant. I know it's a serious charge to make.
Do you know if one of the club officers might have taken a list of those present?
Oh, they didn't have to. We do the same thing at every meeting.
What's that mean?
We all sign the attendance book when we leave.
3 p.m. Ben and I contacted the secretary of the Neighborhood Boosters Club. He gave us a list of those present at the Sunday night meeting of the club. As Mary Walker had told us, each person present had signed his or her name and address in the attendance book. We took the record downtown with us and had Don Meyer compare each signature on the list with samples of Grandma's handwriting.
Number 32 on the list, fellas. That's it.
Positive, Mink?
No doubt in my mind. That's Grandma's handwriting.
How'd she sign it?
Mrs. Inez Lambert.
We went down the hall to R&I and had him check the name Inez Lambert through the files. She had no criminal record. Together with Besser and Ferguson, Ben and I spent the next day and a half trailing Inez Lambert wherever she went. She fitted the description of the suspect perfectly. We questioned her friends and her neighbors. We dug back into every corner of her life for the past 10 years. The results were pretty amazing. We found that she was highly respected by everybody she knew. She was active in a dozen civic and church organizations. Her reputation was spotless. There was only one hitch. Mrs. Lambert's hobby was charities. By checking back, we found that during the past 10 years, she donated an average of $3,000 annually to various charitable organizations. Her husband's total annual income was $7,000. From her bank, we obtained specimens of Inez Lambert's handwriting. It matched almost perfectly with every signature in the Grandma file. Monday, October 7th, Ben and I called on Mrs. Lambert.
Oh, yes, officers. Won't you come in? Mary Walker was telling me about you. Come in, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Mary told me about the things missing from her purse at the meeting. Is that what you're inquiring about?
Yes, ma'am. We've got a few other questions to ask you besides that.
Well, you sort of caught me at a bad time. Just getting ready to put some baking in the oven for dinner tonight. Would you mind very much if we talked back in the kitchen? I've got to get this done.
No, not at all, ma'am.
It's back this way. Oh, there goes my cream sauce again, boiled over. Just take a chair there, officers. I'll be right with you.
Thank you.
This cream sauce is so temperamental, can't take your eye off it for a minute. There. Shouldn't boil over now. Would either of you officers care for a cup of cocoa? Chilly out today.
Well, no, thank you, ma'am. We only have a few questions for you. It won't take long.
Yes? All right. Would you mind holding this bowl just a minute, Sergeant?
Oh, yeah.
I just have to get this in the oven for dinner. My husband's favorite dessert. It's called pinch pie. It's kind of a meringue tart.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Take 2 eggs, I guess. There we are. Get these egg whites beaten up nice and light. That cup of sugar on the sink, Sergeant. Would you be so kind?
Yeah, all right. Here's your sugar, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, what is it you wanted to know?
Mrs. Walker had her charge account plate stolen that night at the Boosters Club meeting. Somebody's been using it to cash bad checks in her name.
Is that so? Mary didn't tell me that.
The same person who's using that charger plate has been cashing bad checks all over the city. Been doing it for some time.
Oh, my. Well, I don't think I can help you, Sergeant. I went to that meeting with Mary. She says somebody must have been in her purse, but I didn't see them.
Do you have that charge account plate, Mrs. Lambert?
Me? Oh, no, I have my own. Now, let me see. Teaspoon vanilla, teaspoon vinegar, teaspoon water, combined in a small pitcher or cup.
We've got good reason to believe you have that charge account plate, ma'am. Did you take it from Mrs. Walker?
That's a silly thing for you to say, Sergeant. I told you I have my own charge plate. I never borrow anyone else's, no reason to. Add a few drops of combined liquid. Beat constantly.
Did you cash 2 checks last week and sign them with Mrs. Walker's name?
Well, of course not. Why should I do such a thing? Mary Walker's one of my best friends. I wouldn't do that to her, even as a joke.
Well, our handwriting man compared the signatures on those 2 checks, Mrs. Lambert. Both of them match your handwriting.
When all of the ingredients have been added, continue to beat the meringue for several minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that you said, Sergeant?
I said that the signatures on those 2 forged checks, our handwriting man compared them with specimens of your signature. They both match.
Well, then your handwriting man certainly made a mistake. Oh, there's a large white platter up in that cupboard there. Would you reach it for me, please?
All right. There you are, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you deny that you wrote those 2 forged checks last week. You deny that you've written and cashed about 1,500 worthless checks in the last 9 years.
Well, of course I deny it. You're sure you haven't made a mistake?
We're sure, ma'am. I'm sorry. You'll have to come downtown with us for questioning.
Oh, what's that? Oh, my. It's the cream sauce again. Sergeant, I can't leave the house now, right in the middle of getting dinner ready. My husband would be furious. If you want to talk, couldn't we do it later on?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Afraid not.
But you certainly can't accuse me of doing anything wrong. The folks at the church will vouch for me.
We've got just as many people who say you've cheated them. People who cashed those checks for you.
Quite a few of them, ma'am. 9 years' worth.
But that's silly, 9 years cashing checks. I'm sure you must mean somebody else, Sergeant. I've got to get this platter greased. Let's see. Heat meringue upon lightly greased platter. Yes.
Look, we have a record downtown on every single check that you passed since you started, ma'am. We've got specimens of your handwriting and people to identify you. We know what your income is. We know how much that you've given to charities.
Money's got to come from someplace. Is that what the checks were for?
Excuse me, I've got to get this meringue in the oven. Let me see. 275 degrees. Yes. I hope I put in enough vanilla.
You want to tell us about it?
I never thought about anyone finding out. I guess I should have expected it, shouldn't I?
Yes, ma'am.
It was all for charity. There were so many of them. Orphanages, Old People's Home, Christmas Poor Fund, and then the overseas relief charities. They all need money. Somebody has to take care of them.
Your husband knew nothing about this for 10 years?
Nothing at all. They were my charities. I had to have money for them. I took money from people who had it and gave it to those who didn't. What do you think, Sergeant? Was I wrong? Do you think the good Lord will say I was wrong?
I wouldn't know, ma'am.
I only wanted to help the poor like he did. I came to help the poor.
Well, there's a big difference, ma'am.
Yes?
He didn't use a checkbook.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The efficiency of any local police department depends on the quality of its personnel. Each and every man is carefully selected and thoroughly trained. In uniform or plain clothes, your police officer knows his job. And so with a cigarette. The men who make Fatima cigarettes know their job. They carefully select and blend the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild, different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, I'm sure you'll like Fatima best. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Inez Lorraine Lambert entered a plea of guilty to 2 counts of forgery, and the remaining charges were set off calendar. She was sentenced by the court for the term prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is Robert Young. Hear We the People next on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A gang of veteran dope peddlers moves into your city. They offer $100,000 worth of heroin for sale. They make their contacts. They're ready to do business. Your job, stop them.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
Buy a pack of Fatimas.
You'll find they now cost the same.
Light a Fatima. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 24th. It was sultry in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:27 a.m. when I got to the Charing Cross Apartments on 12th Street. The side entrance. Hi. Anything doing?
Nothing.
How's the bug working?
Better. One of the fellows from the crime lab came out and fixed it last night, went next door and replaced the microphone. I'm getting real sour on this detail, Joe.
Well, here, let me take over for a while, huh?
Yeah, you bet you. Here. My ears feel like a couple of baked cauliflowers. 2 solid weeks holed up in this place with a pair of earphones on.
Yeah.
What do we got to show for it? That woman next door hasn't even mentioned narcotics in 2 weeks. All she does is eat, sleep, and play solitaire. Goes out for groceries once in a while.
Hold it. Somebody ringing the buzzer next door.
First visitor in a week.
Yeah. Just a minute.
Yes?
Your name is Maywater.
That's right. What is it?
I talked to a friend of yours, George. Thought it might be a good idea if I let you in.
What do you want to see me about?
Well, it's business, Miss Washburn. Could we talk inside?
All right, come on in.
Let me plug in these earphones, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to introduce myself, Miss Washburn. My name's Howard Scully. You and George were former associates, I understand.
We worked together a little. What can I do for you?
Well, George and I are old friends. We were in business in Hong Kong before the war. He's a nice fellow, George.
No, I have a date downtown in half an hour. I don't get much time to talk.
I'm sorry I didn't realize you were in such a hurry. I'll get right to the point.
Yeah.
My business partners and I just came up from Mexicali a few days ago, and we have some merchandise that's ready for the market, and it's good quality.
That's what I hear.
I contacted George, thinking he might introduce me to some prospective buyers. Said he didn't want to handle any merchandise at this time.
Why not?
Oh, it's something about the police. They seem to be watching him. He just didn't want to take any part in any business venture. Just didn't want to get it.
And George gave you a bum steer sending you to me. I can't help it.
Well, you haven't heard my proposition.
I don't have to hear it. Count me out. I don't fool around with junk, any of it. It's a tough rap out here.
Well, if you'll just listen to my proposition, Miss
No.
Washburn. Please, I'm not asking you to be involved. I have a perfectly safe and legitimate transaction in mind. You'll be well paid for your time and effort with no risk whatsoever.
Yeah, I know. All you big connections make it sound good.
George tells me you're acquainted with the right kind of people. People with money. That's the kind of people that my partners and I want to meet. Now, all I'm asking you to do is introduce me to a few such persons for our mutual benefit, and then you just leave the rest to me.
It's still too much. If I gave you an office to a buyer and you were caught, they'd get me for conspiracy.
No, there's not
I've
gonna
seen too much of it, Scully. It's no sale.
Well, you'll just have to believe me, Miss Washburn. No one's going to be caught. Now, we work in an entirely different manner. The police haven't any idea of our method of operation. We've tested it in 6 big cities in the Orient. And not once did it fail us, and I tell you, it's not going to fail us here.
It's your story.
Well, it's perfect.
I'm not chancing a rap to prove you're wrong.
Well,
Here, do you want a cigarette?
yes, thank you. All right. That's right.
Okay. Thanks.
Now, I'm only asking one thing, Miss Washburn. An introduction to the right party, and that's all. Now, you know my reputation. I'll make it well worth your while. If the connection is right, you can live on your take for the rest of the year.
I don't have many friends. Just a few whom I guaranteed for my payoff.
Well, I can deposit the money with George. He'll hold it until the deal is made. You can be real rich, Miss Washburn. Come on, what do you say?
An introduction. That's all.
That's all we'll need. Our product speaks for itself.
I know a fellow out in Hollywood. His name's McMillan. I can call him and tell him to meet you.
That'll be fine. How soon?
I'm not going to introduce you.
No, that won't
I'll
be.
set up a meet for you, that's all.
All right, that's all we ask. Do you have this, Mr. McMillan?
McMillan.
You have him meet me tonight?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Now, tonight at 11:30, I'll be at the corner of 7th and Alameda. Now, remember this now.
Yeah, all right.
Corner of 7th and Alameda at 11:30 exactly. I'll have on a gray coat, and I'll be carrying a book. Now, McMillan shouldn't have any trouble recognizing me. You just Just tell him to walk right up to me, put out his hand and say, "My name's McMillan," that's all. I'll know if he's the right party. "My name's McMillan." That's all he has to do.
All right, I've got it. I'll pass it on.
Fine. Well, I'll make arrangements with George as soon as possible to take care of your fee. Thank you very much, Miss Washburn.
Not at all. Just don't be too sure of yourself. The fuzz in this town could smell a bite 3 miles away.
You'll take care of the police, Miss Washburn. The system should teach him a few lessons. Well, goodbye, Miss Washburn. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Don't come here after this. Call me on the phone.
Certainly. Goodbye.
Joe, wait a minute. She's going for the phone. Come on.
Just a minute.
Try the door. It's locked.
What do you want?
Police officers.
All right, what's the pitch?
I'd like to talk to you downtown.
About what?
Howard Scully.
What about him?
We know why he was here. Get your coat, please.
I haven't done anything.
Come on, lady, let's go.
I told Scully I didn't want in. He made the proposition, but I didn't buy it. You know that. I didn't buy a word of it.
We did. Before the suspect was taken downtown, we informed her landlady to tell anyone that she'd be out of town for a week. That information was to be passed on to any of her friends or business acquaintances who might try to contact her. After that, we took May Washburn back to the office. After being questioned thoroughly, she was detained for further investigation. At 2 p.m., Ben and I met with Captain Kearney, Central Narcotics, and Inspector Virgil Beckner, State Narcotics Bureau, Southern Division.
$100,000 buy, is that what they have in mind? That's the word around town, Skipper. Washburn girl told us the same thing.
The Washburn woman was approached for an office, huh?
Yes, that's right, Beck. She was ready to go when we picked her up. Pusher's Howard Scully, you remember him?
About 9 years ago, wasn't it, the Tijuana deal?
8 or 9 years, yeah. That big heroin buy, they tagged everyone in the gang but Scully.
Yeah, he's no amateur. He's got every narcotic law in the book memorized. He sets the deals, takes the gravy, but he never gets tagged.
How about the federal narcotics men, Romero? They've been briefed on this deal? I called Harry Stone over there this morning. They've been following it, too. Said he'd be over this afternoon.
The setup for this McMillan guy. What do you think, Campbell?
Clear sailing there, Beck, as far as I can see. Scully set up to meet with May Washburn. Ben and Joe grabbed her before she could contact McMillan. Unless Scully's got a Ouija board, he still must figure everything's Jake.
Then we could have a man meet with Scully tonight and pass himself off as McMillan.
Well, shouldn't be too much trouble. From the way he talks, Scully's never seen McMillan. Has no idea what he looks like. It's just a guess.
Neither one of you are known to Scully, are you?
I never met him or his friends.
I worked that case last February when we grabbed Ray Murdoch. He used to be a mule for Scully. That's the closest I've been. Well, I'm afraid that's too close. You know how many hype friends Murdoch has in this town. If any of them spot you and pass the word to Scully, the whole deal's choked off. Joe? You think you could pass yourself off as McMillan for a couple of days?
I'd like to give it a try. Beck, what do you think?
Good with me. We can help with the tailing. Only one possible hitch I can see.
Yeah?
We're not positive this guy McMillan's a total stranger to Scully.
It sure sounded like it, didn't it, Joe? The way Scully and the Washburn girl were talking.
It's possible Scully might have seen a picture of McMillan. Maybe he knows something about his background, his habits, how he does business.
Well, it's possible, yeah.
Suppose Scully starts asking you questions, Joe. How are you going to cover it?
Well, we could talk to the Washburn girl again. She might brief us.
Now, if we need the guy's life history, let's pick it up firsthand. How do you mean? Get McMillan.
Late that afternoon, Stanley McMillan was located at a small restaurant out in the valley and quietly placed under arrest. He was booked at one of the outlying stations on suspicion of violating the State Narcotics Act. We questioned him and got all the necessary information on his background that we needed. He told us that he had never seen or had any dealings before with Howard Scully. 7:30 p.m. I went home, changed my clothes, put away my gun, ID card, and the rest of my identification. An hour later, I checked in at a small hotel near 5th and Main Streets. 11:15 p.m., I left the hotel and started for 7th and Alameda Streets where the scheduled meet with Howard Scully was to take place. As in most cases, there was one all-important rule that I had to work by. If the suspects were to be arrested and successfully prosecuted, we had to get them with narcotics in their possession or under their control. And one of the first things that the working detective learns is that dealers such as Scully rarely do the actual handling of narcotics except at the actual moment of sale. If the officer fails to make an arrest at that moment, the odds are stacked heavily against the conviction of the narcotics criminal. 11:30 p.m. I got to the corner of 7th and Alameda Streets. I walked up to a man standing by a lamppost. He was short, heavily built, dark hair, dark eyes, and a small scar on his chin. He had on a gray coat and he carried a book under one arm. I put out my hand.
Yes?
My name's McMillan.
Oh.
Glad to know you, Mr. McMillan. My name is Scully.
Why?
Understand we have mutual friends, is that correct?
That's what I'm told, yeah.
You're from Louisiana originally, New Orleans.
No.
Oh, that's so? Thought you were from Louisiana.
Missouri, St. Louis.
Oh, I see. I suppose we go for a drive, huh?
My hotel's down on 5th. We could talk there.
Oh, I think my car would be better.
I can't afford to waste time. I got customers waiting.
You can believe me, this won't be a waste of time. I'm prepared to do business.
All right, let's go.
Fine. No, go ahead, McMillan.
All right, thanks.
Now, will you raise that handle on the other side so I can get in?
Yeah, sure.
Fine. Thank you. You can't be too careful in L.A., I hear.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of heat.
Oh? I hope now that's on you.
Don't worry, I'm clean.
No tumbles.
Would I be here if there were? I got customers to protect. Good customers.
Fine. You know, maybe we can do business. How much can you handle?
How much you got?
How about 10,000 worth? Standard rate, full measure. Hardly cut it all.
Sounds fair. We drove 3 more blocks, and then Scully pulled the car to a stop underneath a row of spreading palm trees on a deserted street. He pulled the emergency brake on, then he turned to me, clamped my arms to my sides, and shook me down. What's the pitch here? What's the idea?
No offense, McMillan. Simple precaution in case you had a gun.
What do you take me for, mister? I'm not used to doing business this way. That might go real great in the east, but it's nothing out here.
I said no offense. This is a hot town. You could be a fuzz. You can't be too careful. You know that.
Yeah, well, you don't have to pull that careful stuff with me. Who set up this meet, anyway?
May Washburn.
All right. If you can't trust her, you can't trust me. Or maybe I'm not in the mood for business.
No, come on. Take it easy, Mac. We work this right, and we both got a good deal.
Well, let's get to the point. Where's the stuff?
You bring the money, we'll bring the merchandise.
Wait a minute. The car that pulled up behind us. Let's get out of here.
Oh, you're nervous, Mac. Relax. That's my partner. Come on, I'll introduce you.
All right.
Hi, Jim. Jim, this is McMillan. Mac, this is my partner, Jim Rhodes.
Roy.
Yeah. Do we do business, Howard?
Yeah, he's all right, Jim. He's ready to score.
How much do you want?
Whole bundle. We can start with 10 G's worth.
Can you handle that, McMillan?
I'd say so if I couldn't. I don't give it away.
You get the money, you get the stuff.
When?
10 G's worth tonight, rest next week.
Well, midnight now. What do you expect me to do? Bring the money with me?
Howard will pick you up at 3 a.m., same corner.
Sure.
Well, that doesn't give me much time, does it?
It's enough time if you're really looking. If you're just shopping, we'll forget about it right now.
A lot of my customers live out of town.
That's interesting.
10 grand is no geezer. Suppose I can't get all the money together.
Then don't show up. All or nothing.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes, rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
June 25th, Thursday, 12:30 a.m. I had 2.5 hours to raise $10,000. The narcotics dealers, Howard Scully and his partner, Jim Rhodes, had laid it out for me. Either I had the money by 3 a.m. or there was no deal.
If it failed to come off, our plan to trap the narcotics gang would be worth nothing. Rhodes and Scully could possibly find another buyer without our knowledge, make a deal, and flood the market with their store of narcotics. I knew it would be impossible to get the $10,000 together. We had only one alternative, fake our way as best we could. I went back to the hotel, put a call through to Captain Kearney at the office, and told him what had happened. He went to work on it. From the Narcotic Detail's emergency fund set up for such purposes, we got together $600. From Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, Deputy Chief White, the State Narcotics Bureau, and anyone else available by phone, we succeeded in rounding up another $350. 2:30 a.m. The money was tied in 2 small bundles, with hundreds, 50s, and 20s on top. $1 bills were sandwiched in between. The 2 bundles were placed in a briefcase and delivered to me at the hotel on 5th Street. A gun was also in the briefcase. I took it out, put it in my pocket, closed the briefcase. 2:45 a.m. I left the hotel with the money and started for the big meet. 3 a.m. 7th and Alameda.
McMillan, how are you?
Scully?
We're down this way. You have the money?
Well, your pal said all or nothing. I got it.
Let's have a look.
How about the merchandise?
We can check it in the car. It's right down here.
Rhodes?
Hi. The money?
Yeah, that's right. I got the money. Now, how about a look at this stuff? I'd like to know what I'm buying.
We can stop on the way for a sample. Okay, Howard. You have some, McMullen?
What do you got?
Cashew nuts. Have some.
Thank you.
There's lots of heat in this town. Cops as thick as flies.
Yeah, that's right. Rough time. I gotta be careful.
What's the reason, anyway? When did it start?
Well, about 6 weeks ago, Bulls tagged some high school kids. After them.
Huh?
What for? Well, they were regular hypes. Just punks, 18-year-olds. A couple of them were 17.
Young squirts.
Yeah, and the heat's going to get worse. One of the punks cashed in yesterday. Read it in the paper. Overdose.
Not going to help, is it?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm playing it close. I got good customers, and I'm not going to risk my neck.
How much stuff do you think you can handle a month, McMillan?
No thanks, no more. Oh, I got about 30 mainliners. They're regular and they're sure. 8-10 ounces a week, but they like good stuff, no alley hype junk.
Howard must have told you it's all we handle good stuff. If it goes right, we could make it a permanent connection with you.
I'd like to see what you're offering first.
We'll have a good look. All right, Howard, you know where to pull up.
Yeah.
You stay in the car, McMillan.
All right.
Yeah. All right, Mac, you can get out.
Yep.
There you go. Some of the best white stuff you've seen in a long time. Satisfy yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, it's standard.
It's all good. Not just that sample.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, now how about the money?
All right, have a look. There you are. 1 stack. 2 stacks, 100s, 20s, 10s. 2 5s in there. It's $10,000. Satisfied?
Okay. Jim?
Right.
Excuse me, Mac. Just a minute. I'm just checking.
What do you think you're doing? Get your lousy hands off of me.
Now, no offense, McMillan. These are simple precautions.
Precautions, nothing. We're doing business, aren't we? You shook me down once tonight. Now, how many times are going to take you?
No offense, Mac. He was just checking, that's all.
All right, then. Suppose I fan you 2 down. I got the dough. How do I know this isn't a hijack deal? Now, come on. This business works both ways. Either we have a deal or we don't. We play ball on both sides or not at all. I'm getting sick and tired of taking second place.
Okay, Mac. Okay, take it easy. Forget it, Howard. Let's all go back to the car.
Sure. I'm sorry, Mac. No offense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close the deal.
Where are we going to go?
Don't worry, it's a safe place. Okay, Howard.
"3:35 a.m. In another hour, it'd start getting light. I knew they'd planned to have the buy take place before then. According to our plan, Ben and Sergeant Hunt, along with the other team of men from the State Narcotics Bureau, they were to tail us to the place of the meet and move in on a signal from me when the buy was actually in progress. 3:45 a.m. Scully drove out North Figueroa onto Pasadena Avenue and turned right onto Avenue 43. We headed up Montecito Drive. The area became more deserted. There were no homes around, no buildings of any kind to provide cover for anybody that might be following. Somewhere below, we could hear the rattle of a freight train on its way to the Southern Pacific yards. Off in the distance, I could see the lights of the city. They looked pretty far away. Scully finally pulled the car to a stop on the crest of the highest hill in the area. We got out.
What do you think, Mac?
A nice view.
Yeah. Spent a long time finding this spot. Foolproof.
Yeah?
Bring him over here, Jim. Let's show him.
Huh. See there? Clear view of everything down below. At least half a mile in every direction. No chance of getting trapped up here.
Pretty smart. That's the way I like to deal.
If there's any cops following us, we can see the lights before they get here. Plenty of time to cover up any evidence. Cops ask questions, well, we tell them we're just looking at real estate up here. It's pretty good, huh?
Well, I gotta hand it to you. You can't be too careful. What do you do for lookouts?
Let me show you. Swede? Oh, Swede.
Who's that?
Friend.
Yeah, Jim?
Well, what's the pitch? Who is this guy?
Business pal of Howard and me. Swede is Mr. McMillan.
What do you say?
How do you do?
Look, how many people do you need to make a buy, Rhodes, huh?
Swede's our lookout. It's a big fella, isn't he?
We got enough people here for a Sunday picnic.
We need a lookout. You just got to finish saying it. We can't be too careful.
Well, come on, let's wrap it up. Where's the stuff?
Swede, you want to go?
Okay, Howard.
How far does he have to go?
Close by. Stuff was put away down in the tall grass. Nobody ever found it.
It's a good idea. I like the way you operate.
Swede will have the stuff for you in a minute. Well, how about the money? Should we count it?
Rather wait till Swede gets back.
Okay. Let's wait for the car.
Can't beat this spot, can you, McMillan?
No, it's good.
You had no idea how much time we spent looking for it.
You did real good.
Yeah. Here you go.
Okay, thanks.
Now the money,
Well, how about counting it out here, huh? I'd feel better keeping an eye on that road down below.
Okay, good idea.
Well, let's count it, Mac, huh?
Yeah, all right. Here you go. There's one bundle, and there's the other.
I'll count it, Jim.
Yeah, snap it up. We've been here long enough already.
1, 2, 4. Now, there's quite a few $1 bills here.
Huh?
Well, there's a few of them, but it's all there. 10 grand.
That's how it could be with all these ones.
Now, let me see.
Don't bother, Rhodes.
Here, what are you trying to pull?
Right, get away from the car, Scully. You too, Swede.
Put the gun down, Mac. You won't get away with it.
Get your hands behind your head. That means you too, Rhodes.
Nobody's hijacked us, McMillan. You're not going to be the first one.
It's no hijack, mister. This is a pinch.
He's a fuzz. He's a lousy fuzzy. I knew I should have found him again.
Shut up, Howard. You know we can square this with you, Mac. $5,000 cold cash, no questions.
You're talking to yourself, Rhodes.
I'll make it 10. $10,000 cash. Now, you can't afford to pass that up.
Come on, how about it, Mac? You're human just like we are. You can use the dough.
You keep your hands behind your head, mister.
Use some sense, copper. Swede's as strong as a horse. I could put him on you, he'd break every bone in your body.
You're going to have to get past this gun first.
You're not going to stop all three of us. How do you think you're going to get back to town?
Don't worry, you won't have to walk.
You'll never get us downtown. Swede'll break you in half. He'll kill you.
You just gave me an idea, Rhodes.
Huh?
You're pretty tough. Shouldn't bother you. I'll kill the Swede right now. You and Scully can carry his body in front of me. We'll start walking down that road and we hit the nearest place with a phone. I think that'll take care of it, won't it?
He hasn't got the guts, Jim.
Turn around, Swede.
Oh, look, don't kill me, mister. I'll go away. Don't shoot.
Turn around. Stay where you are, Scully.
Don't kill him, Copper. Don't kill Swede. We'll do anything you say.
Somebody coming. Look, Mac, we'll give you every dime we own. $50,000. Now tell him nothing's happened.
Ben, over here.
$50,000, Mac. You can't lose.
Right, Joe. Back over this way.
The three of them, Ben.
Okay. All right, behind your back. Come on. Just couldn't get here any sooner, Joe. Had to park at the bottom of the hill. They'd have seen us.
Stand still, mister.
Yeah.
We circled around on foot, climbed up through the grass.
I was beginning to think I lost you.
All right, you two. Get him behind your back.
Back.
Hi, Joe.
Here's the junk right here. These 2 packages.
Good. That ought to sew it up. Look, talk it over with your partners, huh? $50,000. You do the right thing. It's all yours.
How about it? $50,000 you can't lose.
What they talking about, Joe?
But they got a big deal. They'll give us $50,000 if we let them go.
How about it, Tex? You could use the dough, new car, new house. Just forget you ever saw us. Easy as that. $50,000 cash. What do you say, Tex, huh?
Sorry, you got the wrong man.
What?
My name ain't Tex.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
In a moment, the results of their trial. Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. In his training, the working detective is taught the importance of thoroughness. He has learned never to overlook even the smallest detail. What may seem unimportant to the novice may well be the one thing to help the working detective successfully culminate his case. So, with a cigarette. The people who make Fatima are well-trained and thorough in the manufacture of their cigarette. Fatimas contain the finest Turkish and domestic tobacco superbly blended. And pack after pack, Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Smoke Fatima.
May Washburn, Howard Lewis Scully, James Henry Rhodes, and John Swede Nelson were tried and convicted. They received their sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases, portions transcribed from official files.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.